Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, can you guys hear me okay? Yes, what a win. We're off to a great start. Thank you for spending your time with us. This is so exciting to be with you. I'm Susie Holman. I am your host today. There's so many new faces that I've never actually gotten to work with before, so I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you. It's actually quite ironic that I am teaching Instagram because me and Instagram, we have gone through battles together. I have gone the rounds with this app like you wouldn't freaking believe. This app has sent me to therapy. This app has been the greatest blessing and the greatest battle of my entire life, which is how it goes, right? When we have a business, we're always attracted to the business that heals our souls and heals our hearts. So of course I'm here teaching Instagram. Of course in 2019, my entire business of Susie School started to teach Instagram because that was one area I needed such deep healing in. Because Instagram is so funny. It is such a bizarre way to live, right? When there's people you don't know from across the world who can weigh in your life and your parenthood and what you wear and your weight and your size and what you say and your inflection of your voice, and they can hate you, they can love you, and they can tell you how they feel about you. But it's not those people we're scared of, right? It's like Kim from high school who's going to see me do this, and it's going to be so cringy when I launch this thing, and I really hope that my old ex-boyfriend Tanner isn't looking. Those are the people, right, that we're like, keep us up at night. Am I alone here? Drop one in the chat if you're like, I feel you, girl. We are in this together. Yep, I knew I wasn't alone. So I started this in 2019. A little backstory on me. I was an influencer. And I had this amazing community of 200,000 people. About 60,000 of those watching me every day in Instagram stories live my life. It's really where I cut my teeth of learning everything I'm going to be teaching you today. Was I failed in real time. I offended in real time. I messed up in real time to thousands of people. And I also learned really quickly do's, don'ts. Oh, that works. Oh, that doesn't. But somewhere along the way in that 200,000 people, I started to feel this pit in my stomach when I'd open up Instagram. Like I would get anxious and I would knot up and I would ball up and my energy would leave. And it was this fear, this deep something every time I went to open up the app. Has anyone experienced this? When your whole body tenses, you're like, okay. And I realized I had some work to do. So, being me, I thought the best idea was going to be, I'm just going to lose these followers. I'm going to lose these followers. They're the problem. I'm not the problem. I just have crappy followers. They're mean. They say mean things. They're so judgy. I'm actually going to sell this to the company I co-founded. We're going to just start new, and it's all going to be so great. I'm going to start new. All this bad vibe, this energy, it's going to go completely away. Give my following 200,000, start back at 0. Oh, crap. The feeling's still there in my gut. Oh, okay. So I still didn't learn the lesson. So fast forward, I'm like, Instagram still sucks. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my own app. It's going to be so much better. Do the same thing. What happens? Pit in the stomach. Oh my gosh. Instagram's not the freaking problem. I'm the problem. My limiting beliefs are the problem. My fears, my worries, my insecurities, they're the problem. So I went to big work on how can I untwine some of my identity from this app? How can I untwine some of my ego needing you to like me, want me? I need to unravel this because that's just my ego shiz, right? That's not real. I needed my soul to come through. So I went on a journey to fix my relationship with Instagram, which really, you guys, just meant fix my relationship with myself. But I wanted to lead us in a meditation today because maybe some of you are feeling these feelings toward Instagram that aren't serving any of us really, but we kind of got ourselves in too deep here. And I don't fault any of us because this is so abnormal to have people watching and criticizing and they're in your living room with you. It's not normal. So our egos, our souls, we just got to take a minute and recenter with it. So I'm going to lead us all in a quick meditation. We're going to throw on some music, and I want you to close your eyes with me. I want you to take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And last one. Now I want you to imagine, I want you to open up your phone, metaphorically. I want you to open up your Instagram. I want you to see what happens in your body. What does it feel like when you open this up? Does it feel like worry? Does it feel like insecurity? Does it feel like you're holding a 400-pound brick? Now, I want you to imagine around your phone and around your Instagram, there is this black rope, and it is just tied around your phone. Tied around knots. These black ropes. And you know, as you're winding these black ropes around, you know what they are. You know their fear. You know their insecurity. You know their fears of lack and being not good enough, not cool enough, not pretty enough, not famous enough, not caring enough, caring too much. You know what you're wrapping around. I want you to go to try to use that tool for good. I want you to go try, see what messages you can get out with these black ropes around your account, around your phone. It's pretty hard, right? So now I want us to imagine you're now holding this beautiful pair of gold scissors. Beautiful gold bougie scissors. And I want you to imagine that you cut the ties and the ropes. You're cutting the ropes and you're freeing your phone, you're freeing your account, you're freeing your limiting beliefs. Watch them fall away, hit the ground, and suddenly they're gone. And suddenly around your Instagram, you see a ring. There's this beautiful ring of light. And the first ring is love. Oh my gosh, all these people are on the other side. They care about me so much. The next ring is gratitude. Wow, my mother could have never thought that this world could exist, that I could make money from my phone when I'm home with my kids. What a gift. The next one is a ring of the people that you've met through this app. These people that have changed your life. These people that a post has come up in your feed and said something impactful to you. These people that are such gifts that you get to connect with their energy from all the way across the world. Now I want you to think of your phone and there's literally money printing out of it. Wow, what a gift that this is something that moves the energy of money so easily and effortlessly. And this phone now has a ring of light around it. Now I want you to pull that up. And I want you to go try to send something. Send some love and light out to your community. Out to the best friends you haven't even met yet, that are there waiting for you. To the women who need you, and men. Now go to try to do your work and see how much further it goes. Send all of your love and gratitude to this app, to this Gorgeous account that you have, this amazing tool for connection and money, a gift of healing and learning. Send all your gratitude, and you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. From this place today, this is the place. This is the work. It is as much the strategies as much as no longer letting this app control us, the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. No, this is the greatest gift. This most insane, free tool. The fact that this exists for our lives is bananas crazy. So we're going to stay in this place of gratitude and love for this app as we dive in. I'm going to introduce you to Summer, who I met when I started Susie School back in the day teaching Instagram. Little did I know she was going to come. She was going to, just like any good teacher wants for their student, they hope the student leapfrogs over them, teaches them something new, and the game continues. She knows so much about what to put in our in feeds. Queen of real, queen of adding value, and has added so much value to my life, and I cannot wait to see what she has to say. Welcome to the stage, Summer!
Hi, everybody. Hello. like an
I know.
applause sound
Fake,
bite.
a fake bite. There you go.
Thank you
Clicker is
so
yours.
much. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here to talk to you today about my journey with Instagram, my journey with business, and to hopefully share some things that will move you along your journey a little bit faster than you might have done on your own. And I love the meditation that Susie just took us through, because as we do these exercises and as we jump in to really discovering what kind of value you are able to bring to your community, those limiting beliefs, back rings of rope, are going to start to find their way back into your mindset. They're going to start to creep back in. And as you notice and become more aware of those thoughts and feelings, and you start to feel the light kind of diminish as you're working on this business on Instagram, I want you to go back to that. Go back to that exercise. It's not just a one and done. I mean, if we could just hear something once and it could cure us or heal us or give us what we need out of life, Susie and I would probably be out of business, because what we actually need is to hear things multiple times. We need to hear it different ways. We need to hear it from a different perspective. The way that I stand in front of you and teach today is completely different than the way I would have done it a year ago and maybe even 6 months ago. So as we get together today and we talk about these important things and ways that you can move the needle in your business as far as growth and income, remember that those limiting beliefs are still going to come up. But you have what you need within you and in your support network to push past those, to move through them, and to continue to change the pathways that you've created over time through your experiences, through your life, and redirect those thoughts and actions into a place and a direction that's going to serve you in your business. So, are you guys ready to dive in? Give me like a 5 in the chat if you are ready to start learning, you're ready to get moving, you've got your workbook with you, because we are going to blast through that thing today. I'm going to help you work through all of those exercises and questions so that when you go home, you have a tangible, tactile tool to look back on so that you can actually put these practices into action. So, welcome to the Instagram Boost Blueprint. What we all know is that growth is not linear, right? Like, it's not a new concept. That's not groundbreaking. I can't trademark that phrase, because we all know that. Growth is up and down and in and out and around and backwards and forwards. And we know that, but why do we have a hard time accepting for ourselves when we see our account or a business or a revenue go up and down and backwards? When I started my account back in 2011 at 0 followers, here's over here, screenshot of kind of where I was and where I am now. But when I started in 2011, obviously, I had no followers. It was the beginning of Instagram. I was knitting baby beanies. I mean, what a change of events. Here I am teaching business. And it took me till 2006, so 5 years it took me to grow 13,000 followers. And that was a big deal, because what happened at 10,000 followers? We can say back in the day, even though it was probably just a couple months ago. What was the big thing that happened when you received 10,000 followers on your account? You got the links. Yes, the swipe up. Isn't it crazy that our kids will never know what the swipe up is? They will never, like, when we reference it, it's going to be archaic and they're going to have no idea what in the world we're even talking about. But we got the swipe up. So it felt really great. And honestly, I did it not necessarily organically. And that was the part that was really didn't feel great. I felt that comparison game. I felt that feeling when you see everybody else growing and you're stuck. So I did the loop giveaways, and I did the follow for follow, and I did all the things. And guess what? I built an audience that, yes, I had a swipe up link. So great. But what else happened? Literally nothing. Like, nothing else happened, because those were not my people. And I was building an account that was more of a lifestyle account. I shared my life, I shared my kids, I shared a little bit about business, but I tried to build this community and it just wasn't working. And like Susie mentioned, it felt like I'd open up the app and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to post. And that kind of started to change in 2016. So keep in mind, it took me 5 years to grow 13,000 followers. It took me another 5 years to grow 10, which again, it's incredible. It's great. I knew that I was capable of more. I knew that I had a gift to give and a way that my brain saw things in a way that nobody else did. My experience is completely different, and therefore I have a viewpoint that nobody else has to share. And so in 2021, I had 23,000 followers, and I just got stuck there. And I thought, how in the world am I going to make this really work for me? And it wasn't until I got together in person with a group of women, and I'm going to tell you that being in person in a group of other entrepreneurs, other people in the same space that you're in, going after the same goals, wanting big things, and ready to like sacrifice and do what you need to do and dig in to get there, it took me getting in the room with those women to really think about what I had to offer. And I just want to congratulate you for being in this virtual room. There's no substitute for in person, but I'm going to tell you that investing in yourself, taking the time away from your family, from your life, from your business. I mean, most of you are in summertime. Some of you have kids home right now. There is something to sacrificing and making an exchange in order to get what you want. And you are all here today to do that. And you're going to feel an energy that's completely different than trying to do this on your own, than swiping through Instagram and looking through your saved posts to see what you can glean out of there. And so when I sat in this room with these women for the weekend, we were talking about niche. And I was like, I cannot figure this out. I just don't feel like I'm special. Anybody feel that? Give me a 1 in the chat if you're like, I just don't feel that special. Elise feels that. Laura, Sarah, Camille, Trina, I just don't feel that special. Anybody feel like I just don't really have anything to give? Like I just don't really have any passions or skill sets that I think would be of value. Anybody feel that? Yeah. It took these women looking at me and helping me see the value that I had inside. And so when we were talking, the subject of business came up. And I just felt like, no, it's not right. I am not an expert. I don't know everything about business. I could barely talk for 15 minutes about it. But guess what? In those 15 minutes, I lit up. It was like Christmas morning. When somebody wants to talk business or strategy or insight or algorithm, I'm like, I am here for it. And so it took them believing in me and me deciding I'm just gonna get good. Right? I'm just gonna get good at it. And I slowly started leaning into that niche. I slowly started to pivot my lifestyle brand to business. And guess what? As I did, you can see that dip goes down to 20,000 pretty quickly after 2021. I started to lose followers by the thousands. Like not even just a couple dips here and there. Give me a 2 in the chat if you've ever noticed a dip in your numbers and all of a sudden panic sets in and you're like, what did I do wrong? What did I post? Who did I offend? I'm definitely on the wrong track somewhere if I'm losing followers. And that was me literally every day. I had to know that what I have to say has value. And the realization that I made is that the people that I'm currently talking to, they're just not the audience for what I'm passionate about. And I had to be okay with letting those people go. Because what I started to reframe those unfollows as was a gift. And so as I saw those numbers dip, and they dipped and didn't go back up for quite a while, I'm going to tell you. But as I started to see those numbers dip, I started to see that those people weren't interested in what I was interested in. They probably didn't feel like they were connected with me, which is fine. I'm not for everyone. And they definitely weren't going to buy from me, and they for sure weren't going to tell people about me. So why was I holding on to them so tight? It was out of fear. It was out of lack. It was out of scarcity. And so what I started to do was just keep posting, regardless of what I generated as far as likes or engagement or sales. I just kept posting day after day. And all of a sudden, almost out of nowhere, when really we know that nothing really happens out of nowhere, right? It's the day to day that we do, the boring things, the showing up in stories. It's the boring things that we do every day that generate momentum. And I started to notice all of a sudden that my followers went from like a nosedive to slowly inching up and quicker and quicker and higher and higher. And I went from 23,000 followers to 103 in a little over 14 months. So keep in mind, it took me 10 years, 10 years to get from 0 to 23. It took me 14 months to get from 23 to 103. And it's because I found what I was good at. I found what I was passionate about and I leaned into it and I got good at it and I read all the things and I tried all the things and I posted about everything in that niche that I knew would be valuable. And I wasn't really selling a whole lot. I didn't really have a lot of offers, but my offer was that I was just going to help people understand what kind of content to post on social media so they can market their business. That's my niche. I help female entrepreneurs find clarity and direction with their social media marketing on Instagram. Would it be helpful? Give me a 3 in the chat. If it would be helpful for you, if you could just spit out that niche statement just like I did. Does anybody ever freeze up when somebody asks what you do? I still do it sometimes. But I knew what my niche was, and as I talked about it, as I shared it, as I said the words over and over, it became easier and easier. And today, in just a little bit, we're going to talk about how you can actually craft a statement just like that for you and your audience and what you have to offer that's going to connect right away with people. But first, I want to do an exercise with you. I want you to open up your Instagram. Now that we have this glowing light around it, open up the app to your home feed. Right here, your home feed. Open it up. I want you to look at the first 15 or so posts and count how many talk about your product. How many are focused on having somebody buy something to access value? I'll give you a second. Out of those 15 or so, for someone to buy something to get value. And I want you to tell me in the chat, 15 or so, how many require someone to buy something? And there's no shame in the game. There's no right or wrong. We're just honestly creating awareness. All right, so we've got 5, 5, 0, 2, 3, 0, 2. Great. Wow, I'm actually surprised. We've got a lot of people who do. Why are you not talking about your product? Why are there 0? What's that fear? What's that fear? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But also I want to talk about people who are feeling really comfortable. So it looks like there's 2 ends of the spectrum. People who really want to talk about their product and people who are scared to talk about their product. So what about the people that talk about their product a lot? Why is it that we feel so comfortable talking about our product or service and so lost when it comes to the topic of who we are and what we alone have to offer? And for some of you, you feel really comfortable just talking about anything and everything. And when you want to talk about your product, you actually freeze up. So there's that fear on both sides of the coin. I talk about myself, or if I talk about anything other than my product, people are going to judge me. I'm going to fail. And then there's the other side of the coin where you are scared to actually talk about your product. And I know that comfort and that confidence comes from within. It comes from what you yourself have to offer. Why can't we just focus on why can't we just focus on what our company has to offer, or just what we're doing with our kids, with our families? Why do we even have to worry about that? Why do we have to worry about talking about what we're good at? there's a couple of ways that we kind of generate energy in our account and in our business. The first way I like to call the car dealership. We create these vibes in our business where we're always selling. The only option is our brand. The follow-up game is out of control. We are constantly following up and cold messaging and reaching out. Or we're focused on what the end game is. So think about that feeling that a car dealership generates. Do we go to a car dealership just to like hang out? Anybody looking to like just chill or go on a date night and just go to the car dealership? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Yes or no? Do you ever feel like that's the place you just want to hang? No. Jen says no. No, why? Because we know that they're going to try and sell us. And for some of you, that's kind of the feeling that you're generating in your account, in your content. You're constantly selling. Your end game is constantly about that sale at the end of the day. So that's a vibe that maybe we want to look at. Now, there's some people that their vibe is more like Costco, right? I've got lots of passions. I love baking, and I love sourdough, and I love fashion, and I love Amazon, and I also love my kids. Here's 10 pictures of my kids. I also love business, and I love to sell a product. And when you think about Costco, are they particularly skilled in any one area? Do you go there just because there's like the one thing that you know you're always going to get, and it's the best one? No. They're also always sampling, right? They're always talking about the flavor of the day. There's always something new. You also walk in with a list and immediately get distracted by the center seasonal section. Anybody walk in and like straight to the center because you know that they're going to have the super soakers for summertime. I go there for holiday gifts and for Christmas gifts because I know that there's things there. But I came actually because I'm hosting a party and I needed food, but I for sure filled my cart with other things that I didn't really need, didn't really want. And when you spend money, you're wondering what the heck you got for $400. Give me a 5 in the chat if you're like, yeah, I walk out and like, I got 5 things. My $400. Like the value, the feeling of value sometimes feels like, I got a little ripped off. And for some of us, we're just talking about all the different things. We're sampling everything different, trying to figure out what people want. Here's something that you might want to consider. Looking at a business that is well known and that their audience flocks to. One of the businesses that I think about is Starbucks. And Starbucks is known for a couple of things. There we go. It's not just a drink, right? It's experience. Why do you not go home and just buy the things and make the drink yourself? Because it's the experience. It's going through the drive-thru. It's using the mobile order. It's going into store and having somebody greet you. It's having somebody ask what your name is. Anybody go through a whole day and nobody ever asks your name or who you are or what you want? I mean, as a mom, that like almost never happens unless I'm at Starbucks. They know what their customer loves and they do it well. They're really, really good at those drinks, right? They dabble in something for the kiddos with cake pops, and maybe you're on your way to work, so they've got a handful of sandwiches, but they don't have a ton of things to choose from. It's a pretty small menu. Here's a really good one. They offer freebies to get people to come in and stay longer. Has anybody ever used the Wi-Fi at Starbucks? Give me a 3 in the chat. Have you ever used the Wi-Fi? Ever wanted to just get away for a minute and need a little bit of peace and quiet? Starbucks is free. You don't even have to buy anything. You can come, set up your computer. Maybe you're getting together with girlfriends. Maybe you have a planning meeting and you go to Starbucks. They provide an area for you to just be. They offer free refills, so you're getting extra value there. They also have a secret menu that makes you feel like you're in an exclusive club. Anybody ever start to sweat when they pull up to the drive-thru or like stand at the cashier and you're trying to order the thing you saw on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest and you're like, I really hope this is a real thing. Like I hope I'm not embarrassed. But when you do it, you're like, yes, I am in the Starbucks secret club. How can you generate that kind of feeling in your own content? They also pop up where they know their people will be. I live a half a mile from a grocery store, and wouldn't you know it, there's one in the parking lot and in the store. They make it so easy for people to access. So, how in the world do you get those Starbucks vibes and start pivoting away from that car dealership icky sales feeling or that Costco confusion that we can create? And that is about the foundation. All your content is built on your niche. That's what's so important to nail this down. Give me a question mark in the comments if you feel like you still aren't quite sure on who your niche is. And I want to just say, Kelly's like double question mark. Like I am really confused. And I feel that frustration because that's where I was when I was trying to figure out what to do to grow my business and my account. Like that's exactly where I was. Nobody had the answer. Everybody just said, "Oh, it's just who you serve." Well, it's actually not just who you serve, because what most people do is they lean into their product. I am serving people who buy this product. Or they lean into their industry. I'm in the fitness industry. I serve people in the fitness industry or in the fitness world. And they're missing the game. They're missing the whole point of a niche statement, and that is to narrow down so specifically with who you serve that there is undeniable when somebody reads your statement, they go, "That's me. She knows me better than I know myself. He knows me better than I know myself." You have to know your audience better than they know themselves in order to attract them to your account. So let's talk about what that niche statement looks like. Would that be helpful? Give me like a couple head nods if you're like, "Yes, please help me, Summer. Help me with that niche statement." I'm going to give you some examples, and we're going to talk about the strategy behind the examples, because I don't think it's enough just to be like, "Hey, just plug and play. Remove the words and put these ones in." There has to be a strategy behind how we craft a unique and compelling niche statement. So here's an example. I help female entrepreneurs go from feeling lost and aimless. Let me move this way out of the way for you. Lost and aimless to having clarity and direction with their social media strategy on Instagram through webinars, courses, and retreats. Now, this is my long form statement. I have a shorter statement for my Instagram bio and when I talk to somebody, but essentially, this is what I do in a nutshell. So I want you to just take a moment and write down. I'm going to give you some support, but I want you to just kind of come up with your part one. This is our version one of our niche. And you can use that same thing. I help someone go from feeling this way to that way by doing this thing. Tell them how you're going to get them that transformation. I help someone go from feeling this way to this way by doing this thing. And now we're going to talk about how I actually strategically crafted this statement, because every single piece of the statement serves a purpose. Every single piece of the statement narrows down smaller and smaller. Does anybody give me like a 5 in the chat? Does anybody feel like they're alienating or excluding people if they create a niche? Anybody feel like, well, this person also could buy my things, or this person I could also help? If I talk about just specifically this group, I'm losing out on money. Okay, I'm glad you guys said that. Because here's the truth. The truth is that the people that are meant for you, the audience that is meant to find you, the people that will just connect with you because they connect with you, those people will find you. I promise. I have a monthly membership, and like I said, I serve female entrepreneurs. But one of my most active and engaged members is a man. Because for some reason, we just energetically connect. He wasn't repelled because I said I help female entrepreneurs. He's not repelled by my content about kids and being a mom and trying to figure out how to work and juggle. He's not repelled by that because he's my person. Your people will find you. But if you want someone to follow you, you have to be really clear on who you're looking for and how you serve them. Okay, so everybody give me a 6 in the chat if you're like, okay, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to follow into the darkness. I'm going to hope that the light follows. Yes? Okay, great. I promise the light will follow. So every single piece of this niche statement should narrow down. We said that. So I'm going to ask you a question. Look at this target right over here. Think about every single ring as a section of your niche statement. Every single ring gets closer and closer to that very center target. So every single word or phrase gets closer and closer. So if we're looking at the outside ring, so where's my biggest group? My biggest group is female entrepreneurs. So I can help any entrepreneur, right? Like there's value in everything that I do for someone, but I'm specifically capable of helping females because I have struggled with being a stay-at-home mom. I have struggled with working in an office full-time and raising babies and trying to juggle and having my sick kiddo on the floor behind my desk because I couldn't take the time off. Like, I know that struggle. I'm uniquely equipped because of my experience to support in that way. Now let's look at the next one, lost and aimless. So I could help people that know what they're doing, but that's not who I'm specifically equipped to help. I'm looking for the female entrepreneur who feels lost and aimless, not the one that's feeling capable and bad A and like ready to tackle and has like their content map. They know everything that they're posting for the next month. That's not my niche. I'm looking for people who feel that lost, aimless feeling, that pain and that agony over what am I going to post today? Let's scroll through and see if there's anything cute in my camera roll. Okay. The next group are people who are seeking clarity and direction. Not everybody is looking for what I have to offer. There are some people so committed to feeling lost and aimless that they can't even see me. They can't even see a way out. They're so committed to where they are and where they're stuck. I am not looking for those people. I'm looking for someone who's like, no shiz, no kidding, I'm going to figure this out. I'm not stopping, I'm not quitting, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to figure this out. Those are my people. And that's why you are all here, because you were called into that. And I'm looking for people who want to do that specifically with their Instagram strategy. I don't do TikTok. I feel like I missed the boat on that. I'm a little old for that one. I don't do Pinterest. I don't do Facebook as much. Instagram is like my bread and butter. It's what I know the best. It's where I spend most of my time. So I'm looking for people that also are looking to build in that space. And then how do I do it? I'm looking for people who love a good webinar. I'm looking for people who are like, I am in for the courses. I set aside time each week. I want to come to a retreat. I want to come in person. I want to get in the room with other female entrepreneurs. I'm looking for those people. So can you see, give me an exclamation point in the chat if you're like, I can see the pattern. I can see the path. I can see the structure. I can see the strategy. Amazing. So now what I want you to do is I want you to rewrite or just maybe circle a couple of words that you want to change and adjust in your niche statement that will help you target down to a smaller group of people. If a word does not target down, it doesn't eliminate some people, it doesn't belong in your statement. So things like happier. Do you know anybody who doesn't want to be happier? No? I mean, we probably have a couple in our life who are committed to being miserable, but for the most part, everybody's looking to be happy. What about busy moms? I have yet to find a mom that's sitting on the couch eating bonbons like Peggy Bundy in Married with Children. I'm probably dating myself right now, but I don't know many moms that aren't busy. But here's the thing, we lean towards those phrases because we hear them a lot. And guess what also happens when you hear something a lot? It's like Charlie Brown's mom, want, want, want. Nobody actually is paying attention to those words because we see them all the time. What I want you to do is use the thesaurus, use ChatGPT, use a friend, call in a favor, have somebody help you brainstorm or use a tool to just swap. It's easy as swapping out words. It doesn't have to be a full reconstruction. It could be as simple as just swapping out a couple of words in your statement. So I'm going to give you a couple more examples to hopefully help you see that there's other ways that we can do this. So I help moms release the weight of endless laundry piles by providing affordable door-to-door on-demand laundry service so they can focus on what matters most, their family. This one I really wanted to hit home with that emotional piece and that relatability, right? I didn't say busy moms. I didn't say moms who are just overloaded or overwhelmed is another one of those buzzwords that we hear all the time. I used imagery. Can anybody do you see that endless laundry pile sitting in your laundry room or in your living room or in your kids' room or in your room? Right? Like we feel that because we can see that imagery in our own home and in our own lives. And we feel that weight, like it's just never ending. They wear clothes every single day and sometimes multiple, most of the times multiple outfits, right? But here's exactly how I help them. Door-to-door on-demand laundry service. I didn't say by doing your laundry. I didn't say helping with chores. I specifically outlined it's door-to-door. I'm going to show up at your door. I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to show up at your door and drop them off. And it's on demand, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to cancel or anything like that. It's just as you need. And then I hit really home with so they can focus on what matters most, their family. I hit that emotional transformation. If you can connect with their emotions, that is true magic. Now we have this one. I help high-level executives with their targeted daily nutrition goals by delivering perfectly portioned fresh and delicious cuisine to their workplace, taking the prep work out of eating healthy. This is another one where I tried really hard. I didn't want busy working moms. I'm looking for people who are actually high level. I'm not looking for just anyone. Not just anyone can afford my services. So really think about who that person is that could afford your services and how you can support them. And last one, I work with women who are starting up home-based businesses for the first time. Not people who have been in direct sales for a long time, people who have done this before. I'm looking for first-time people. People who are doing this for the first time. Go from feeling excited and overwhelmed to feeling like a bad A business owner through weekly group coaching sessions. So I spoke to specifically how I support them. So take a couple of seconds, make a couple of notes before we move on so that you can come back to this and really work on that niche statement. Where do you need to tighten up your phrasing? Where do you need to be more unique? Where do you need to stand out? What words do you need to eliminate because you're just adding things in just to add things in and it gets away from us? So with that niche statement in mind, we're going to look at your entire bio because here's the thing. When somebody lands on your account because of this incredible content that you created, you're creating and working so hard to serve your audience, and we're going to talk about exactly what serving looks like in a minute. But when somebody lands on your content and goes, I want to know more, and they go to your Instagram profile, it needs to scream, this is who I am, this is why you need to follow me, and this is what you can expect. So let's look at your Instagram bio and look at a couple things that we could do to improve. So open up your Instagram. Remember, we're seeing that glowing light around it. And I'm going to give you 5 areas to kind of look at and evaluate to see if maybe there's a way you can clean things up and create an environment where people are excited to follow. So we have your username. This should be short and simple. The less people have to type when they're searching for you, the better. There shouldn't be an underscore. I would try to avoid that at all costs. It's clunky, it doesn't look professional, and instead, you might want to use a period. In my Instagram handle, it's hey.summer.a, which is a lot of periods, but here's the thing. I was testing things out, and I just created my username, HeySummerA, and I figured people will get it. I'm not using a period, there's no underscores, it's available, score. And then there was confusion. People thought that my name was Summerah. because they don't know me, right? Like we think that people know us when they land on our account, but chances are most people who land on our account have no idea who we are. They don't know how to pronounce our name. They don't know what we're doing for business. They don't know why we're so great at what we do. And so you need to make sure it's clear. And a way that you can do that is by adding that period to separate when needed, or if your username's not available, using that period. It's helpful if it explains your niche, if you're more of a logo forward brand or a product forward brand, but it's really important that maybe it has your name. If you're more of a personal brand, you for sure want to have your name in there. Okay? Now we're going to go to your profile photo. Your profile photo should be close up. So if it's you with a group of people, it's probably time to evaluate and update. If it's a full body shot of you, probably time to evaluate and update, because we want them to be able to identify your face right away, because that teeny tiny bubble is going to be at the top of your content. It's going to be at the top of your stories, and we want that brand recognition right away. So you want it nice and close. You want to be looking at the camera. As cute as these are, that's done. We are looking straight to camera. We are confident, and we are smiling and engaging and bringing people in with that photo. And if you want to really add a little pop, cut it out with something like Canva and put it on top of a bright background that coordinates with your brand colors like I did here. Now let's talk about your name and bio. So this one's tricky, and I get a lot of questions about this section. Your name should be your actual name, and here's why. For 99% of people, want it to be your actual name versus your brand name. I can't tell you how many times I went to reach out to someone because I love their content, or I wanted to collaborate with them, or they asked me about something and I wanted to address them by name. I wanted to make that connection with them. So many people don't have their name in their bio. And it's such an important part of who we are and who our identity is. So if you don't have your name yet, I would add it in there. And then you want to follow that by searchable keywords. So things that people would Google. For me, I used Reels Marketing Coach because that's what I do. You want to avoid acronyms, things that people wouldn't understand. Maybe there's jargon that's specific to your industry. You want to try to avoid those because you want to be really clear in who you are and how you're serving. It also is really helpful because those are more SEO friendly versus an acronym. The next thing you want to put is your niche statement. So that statement that we just crafted goes right here. That way when somebody lands on your account, lands on your content, they know exactly who you're serving and how you do it. This is going to be one of the number one ways for you to be able to help your audience and gain those new followers, because the more eyes we have that are our target audience, the more income we can produce. And Susie's going to talk about that in a little bit. The other thing that you can put in there is if there's a credential. And one thing that I talk about that's really controversial is that the number of children that you have is not a credential, unless it specifically speaks to what you do. For example, if you're a sleep training coach for children, it's probably very helpful that people know that you're a mom of 4 and maybe have twins. But if you make planners and you happen to be a mom of 4, that's not going to support your audience. Everything in that niche statement needs to help your audience. It needs to be about them. And talking about how many children we have, while we are proud, and I'm not saying to never talk about your children. In fact, if the only way that somebody knows that I have children is because I have a number count in my bio, I have a problem. I'm not sharing who I am in my real life enough. If you look at my account, I don't share how many children I have, but if you look at any of my content and every single day of stories, you can see I am a proud mom of 3. And I talk about my kids all the time. So if you have that in your bio, it might be something that you evaluate. Is it needed and is it necessary? And then a call to action. You have an opportunity to put a link into your account and you want to get people to click on it. So sharing what the value is when they click on that is really helpful. So freebies, lead magnets are so great. It is an incredible way for you to get new followers. And to serve. It's also a really important part of lead list building. Me a 1 in the chat if you have an email list that you're currently working on building, and give me a 2 if you're like, it's on my list. It's been on my list for a while. I haven't quite made it a priority, but after today, I'm going to hope that it's on your top list of things to do. Okay, we're a good mix. It's really important that you're building that and having some sort of lead magnet, and you can make those in Canva in a matter of, under 20 minutes. You can search in Canva for lead magnet templates or PDF templates or downloadable workbooks and take your knowledge and your expertise and put it into something that people would find value and want to download. If someone can win right away from following you, you've built that connection and you've built that trust. The next thing we're going to talk about is your link in bio. So like I said, you want to link to some sort of lead magnet or something that helps someone for free. And in the past, the most widely used lead magnet host or link host has been Linktree. There's been some incredibly helpful tools like Milkshake, and even Canva can do a link in bio site. But I want to open your eyes to an innovation that I'm seeing a lot and that I just created for my account. And that is creating a mini sales page for everything that you do. So essentially it's a website, and I'll show you right now what that looks like. So here's some screenshots from essentially it's a website. You don't have to host it on your own. You can go into Canva and create a website, and they will create a link for you. And it outlines all of your offers. It outlines your freebies. And why I think this is so valuable and what you're going to start to see moving forward is that it explains why someone would want to click on the things that you have to offer. Instead of just having a link to all the things and adding confusion, somebody might be looking for one thing and then squirrel over to another link, and you totally missed out when they wanted to buy something. But with this, you can actually share why someone would want to click on the link that you have. So here's how I have structured mine. I have my most popular offer first. So first off is my CEO Society, which is my monthly membership. It's the most popular one. And it has a link and just a little bit of information and introduces it. Then I have my most affordable offer. So something that just is a couple of bucks. It's a webinar that people can watch in a replay. And then I have my high ticket quick links. So the things that are the most expensive. Now, if you're not service-based and you're product-based, this could be about highlighting your most popular products. If you land on any website, you'll notice that the landing page actually does this. It's the new arrivals, it's the most popular purchases, it's the seasonal things, it's the clearance sale, the most inexpensive, maybe it's add-ons. And so you can actually create that yourself if you don't have someone who's building a website and get it done right away. If you go to Etsy and you search sales page template for Canva, that's actually what I did, and it cost me $16. I went home, I edited it, I uploaded it, and it was done in a matter of a couple of hours. The other thing that you have is the introduction to you. So you see who I am. No, you don't. There we go, who I am. Your lead magnets, if you have any of those. And then you have testimonials at the end. A couple of other things, if you are an affiliate, you can share your affiliate links, and your shop, if you have a shop. So those are some things that you can add to your link in bio to really stand out. The last area is your highlights and pins. So you want to have 3 key bubbles. They should all be niche related. So they are testimonials, they are about you, and they're work with me. Testimonials, about me, work with me. And you want to make sure to keep those bumped to the front all the time. So by bumping, it just means adding another slide to the highlight, and it moves it to the front. And you want to look at your highlights. Do you have some things in there that maybe need to be archived? There we go. Do you have some things in there that maybe need to be archived? Maybe you need to delete them altogether. Those highlights are really helpful when they're geared at your niche and they're not just about your family vacation. You want to have colored covers or something with a pattern. You want to have, like I said, your offer, how you serve, a quick hit of value. So a freebie that somebody could actually implement right away and find value and move the needle. let me go back one. So keep your highlights bumped, like I said, and Canva real cover templates are really helpful if you don't have a lot of skill in designing. That is another way that you can add value, is adding those clearly defined highlights on there. All right, now that we have that profile dialed in.
Let me something. Can you do me just like half a bag of a Caesar salad and then tuna fish on the side?
Okay,
Do they?
and then we need to make sure that we have the content that's going to drive people to our profile, right? We have got that content that gets people clicking on our profile and following us. So chances are, like you did when you had that evaluation, you saw you had free value and you had paid value.
No, you're talking about.
Oh, there is.
Okay,
You do.
so the free value. Come on, clicker. You got this. Free value is something that people can access for free. It's like a little gift that you give to your audience at no cost. It's like a blog post or a social media post to show them what you're all about. So some of you are killing it at free value. I would guess that some of you are thinking that you've got free value happening, but really there's not a lot of actionable steps behind it. So here's a look at what my free value could look like. So what would this look like for you? So this is phrases you need to stop using. And instead of just telling them to stop using the phrases, I actually gave them in that small white writing, I gave them what they can swap it out for. So I not only said, these are things to stop doing, I also said, do these instead. Now, if I were just going to tell someone to stop doing something, it could be valuable, sure. But because I told them what to do instead, it now becomes actionable. And I actually got comments on this post that talked about how grateful they were that I actually gave them the answer to what to do. So many people out there will give them the what not to do, but they're missing that second part that creates such a valuable post. This one had super high saves and shares because it was actionable. The other thing that we have is paid value. So paid value is where you show off your skills or product and provide a deeper level of value to your customers. So this is a reel that I did where I gave them a couple of tips, or I talked about my retreat that I have coming up next weekend, and I asked them to comment for more information. So in order to access value out of this post, they have to sign up for my retreat and attend. Now, if I only posted bye, 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 and nobody ever got anything out of all of my other posts, it's going to be really, really hard for me to make a sale. And for a lot of you, you might feel like you're not quite sure if you're providing value, and so you're not quite sure how to even talk about your product. When you know that you're serving your audience, when you're standing in your value and you're like, I gave them this and that and the other, and I moved the needle, and people commented and people saved and people shared, and you're like, I also have this paid offer, you stand a little taller. You show up a little bit more confident and proud because you have evidence that you help people. So when you have this opportunity for them to pay for more support, you're more confident. And so free value really is the key and the magic tool. Free value builds trust and establishes your expertise, while paid value generates revenue and provides a deeper level of value. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about how you can create that free value. Now that I've showed you the golden ticket, and you are understanding why it's so important to fill your feed with it, let's talk about what that actually looks like and how you can create it. So we're going to look at your free value funnel kickstart. And this is in your workbook, so you can start to work on some of these ideas. But the first thing we need to do is look at your mindset. That's why we started with that visualization and that meditation, because mindset is so important. So the first thing you want to think about are, what are the pain points or challenges that your target market is experiencing? And I'm not talking about the pain point or challenge that your product gives them and solves for them. I want you to think about, other than your product, how can you support and help? Other than your product being the answer or your service being the answer, what are the other pain points and challenges that come along with that that you can help them move through? Let me go this way. Then we're going to look at the value beyond my product or service. What value can you provide beyond that? What is something that you can help with beyond that? So my product and service is a niche and a webinar, a niche webinar, and I talk all about niche. I deep dive into niche. But they'd have to pay for that. But how can I help them beyond that? I can share examples. I can share other people who've gone through my courses, what they have done with their niche, their before and after. I can provide just a small thing that they can change and adjust that gets them moving the needle right away. And ask yourself, what kind of content would I find valuable? Would you find it valuable for someone to talk about their product all day long? Do you find it valuable to talk about what they made for dinner and then what they wore to Disneyland and then a post about why they're so sad today and how they need a little bit of emotional support and then a meme that they thought was funny? We want to think about what is valuable to us. I want to learn. That's what I spend my time on Instagram doing. For me, Instagram, I like a good golden doodle reel from time to time. My husband and I send like marriage memes back and forth. That's our love language. But really, when I'm on Instagram, I want to learn. I want to find out what's new. I want to know new features. I want to know what's out. I want to know big people are making. I want to know how other people are selling their product. I want to consume. Guess what? It's exactly what my audience wants to consume because we're in the same place. So let's talk about values. So, what is a piece of knowledge or a skill that your audience could benefit from? And I want you to use the chat and think about, and I want to brainstorm. One of the powerful things about having everybody together right now is that you guys have essentially a mastermind here to help and talk through things. So what is knowledge or skill that your audience could benefit from? Something that you know that your audience could benefit from. What is something that you know your audience could benefit from that doesn't involve your product? For me, for my target audience, which is all of you, I know that you could benefit from lists that you can save. Because I know that organizing resources is one of the big struggles on Instagram because you can either save it to an album, right? Or a folder, or you can share the post, but there's not a big way for you to organize things. Like if I want that I found, I'm actually going to provide a list for you so that you don't have to go and search them out. So those are things that are my knowledge or my skill set that my audience could benefit from. Can we scroll down the chat just a little? And then what kind of content do I really enjoy creating? Because it doesn't matter if a reel is the best way for you to grow an audience. It doesn't matter if you're like, I don't want to make them. I don't want to consume them. I don't want to share them. I don't enjoy them whatsoever. So you might be someone who really leans into carousels, and carousels is your bread and butter. Okay? That's where you want to lean into. What kind of content do you love to create? Do you love memes? Are you like, people know me because I share funny memes on Sundays? Well, then you should also be creating funny memes as well. Because guess what? If people are in the habit of sharing your funny memes that you share on Sundays, they're also going to share yours. Okay? And I want you to think about tangible things. A lot of us lean into the intangible, and they're hard to measure, right? Like, I help inspire women. I help them become more confident. I want you to think about what that actually looks like. What do they do because they're more confident? What actions do they take because they're inspired? And if you can lean into tangible things, you'll find that you're getting more saves, more comments, and more shares. Creative ways I can add value to my audience. So it could be memes. You're like, I've never made a meme before in my life. Well, guess what? There's support and there's tools that can help you. Canva, I'm going to go back to Canva again because I think it's one of the greatest free tools that anyone has access to when it comes to creating content. But what are some creative ways that you could do this? Maybe you bring on somebody else, and we're going to talk about collaborations in a minute, but you can bring somebody else in with you to introduce them to your audience. Maybe they have a separate skill set as you, and you're helping in that way. Maybe you've never made a reel, a meme into a reel before, and you're seeing that as a trend. And I will tell you that I've done 2 reels, and I used a video as a meme, and they both done really well. So that trend is really one that can work for you if you've never done it before. So how can you get creative in creating content for your audience? All right, you guys ready for some actual tangible ideas to help you? So here's why I don't give you these ideas off the bat. Because one of the things that I know that I struggled with is that I was looking outside for all the answers. I was looking to the gurus, I was looking to the Google, I was looking to the Pinterest, because I didn't have confidence in my own creative juices. But when you are forced to create first, and then you're giving resources, it helps you to be able to use those resources and lean on your own creative space. You were born with everything that you need to have the things that you want. I want you to think about a toddler with a cookie, right? Think about a toddler that wants a cookie. How many times will they ask for that cookie? My daughter is 10, and she still has not lost this ability to keep asking for things until she gets them. She will be an extremely powerful executive or a really incredible business owner someday because she does not take no for an answer. Do they keep going over and over and over until they get the freaking cookie? And guess what? If your willpower is so strong that day and you keep saying no, what do they do next? They get the stool, and the stool is too short. And then they get the chair, and the chair is too short. And then they find a way to get onto the counter. But guess what? You put the cookies on the top of the refrigerator. They're going to figure out a way to get on the refrigerator, aren't they? We've seen the reels, haven't we? Of the toddler, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to fall. Does that toddler care about any danger or failure or fear? No, we were born that way. We were born to go after the things that we want. We were born to continue to try things out and to test and to measure. We were born to overcome fear. But little by little, as we live our lives and people tell us no, or we fail and we feel silly, or somebody makes fun of us, or someone says this idea is dumb, little by little, we lock away that creativity. Don't we? We lock it away. And so now, because we have locked that away so deep, we no longer have access to it. So we go to outside resources. So you're going to be tempted to want to do this using a support, but I want to encourage you, test yourself first. Come up with a couple of ideas on your own and then go to your cheat sheet. Come up with a couple of ideas to switch out your niche statement on your own and then go to the thesaurus. Make it a practice not to lean on outside sources because you carry the source with you always. So I'm going to give you some support because you can always use support. Absolutely. Let's talk about some content prompts that might be helpful. So here's an idea of something you can do. A how-to. So this could be a reel, it could be a carousel. You can even use it as a story. So create a short reel or carousel or story demonstrating a specific skill or technique. And I'm not talking about a skill using your product you sell. Because 9 times out of 10, when somebody first happens upon my content or joins a reel challenge, they find it so difficult to get outside of the box of their product when it comes to content. Something for free. What is something free that you can teach that would benefit your niche? It has to do with your niche. And here's why. It is so tempting to create viral content and funny content and to create recreate a challenge or something like that. But if you don't find some way to connect it to your niche, if it brings a wave of new followers that aren't your people, it didn't do anything for you. That virality had no value. But if you could, even in the caption, even in the on-screen text, if you can tie it to your niche somehow, and there is always a way, it just takes some creative power, then you're going to bring people that you actually want to follow your content. top tips. So tips or insights on a topic related to your business or industry. I do tips for the new things that are happening on Instagram. There's a new thing every single day, it feels like. There is a new feature, there's a new strategy, something is going away, something moved, the buttons go all over the place. So I get to be the go-to place. When people hear about something new, they go to my account because they know that I'm going to talk about strategy to use it. Not only am I going to explain what it is, but I'm going to teach them how to leverage it for their business. Or I'm going to say, this one is terrible and awful. Don't use it. I'm going to be honest. Or they're following me and they love to get into my stories because they know that I always share the new things to my stories. So be known for something in your niche. Behind the scenes, and this is great. If you could see behind the scenes, you see Todd walking around with his phone, Julian's walking around with the camera, Susie's over there. You can see the behind the scenes, right? So how do you show the behind the scenes in your own business, in your own life? Susie's going to talk about that in stories because she is the master at it. Set up a phone on the side. I have my actual phone that I use for my life and my business, and then I have an old phone that I just use to catch footage. Or if I'm strategically creating something for behind the scenes, I've got my dummy phone and I have my real phone set up. Okay? So behind the scenes is really valuable because people are curious. And maybe you give them a couple of tips for what you do behind the scenes, or how you manage behind the scenes and having kids running around. Then we have testimonials. So a reel featuring customer testimonials or success stories is really powerful. And maybe it's not that it's a testimonial of your product. Maybe it's a testimonial of following you. Maybe it's a testimonial of downloading your free thing, and it's a way for you to direct people to the free thing to build your email list because somebody else said it was great and valuable. So what are testimonials that you can create? Question and answer. Answer questions from your audience in a short and engaging reel. A carousel is also a great way. Does anybody, or has anybody, okay, I'm going to rat myself out right now. I'm guilty. Has anybody ever put up a question box in their stories? Give me a 5 in the comments, and nobody asked a question. You're like, I have a great idea for a reel or content, and I just need people to ask me questions. I'm just going to pull the audience, and it's crickets, and nobody says anything. So uncomfortable. But guess what? I'm going to give you a cheat code. You can answer your own questions. Nobody will know, okay? So until you get to a place where you've worked on building that rapport with your audience and you have shed the followers that are not engaging and you've called in those people who know and love you and love to engage, until that happens, you can fake it till you make it. You could also, I'm sure people are giving you questions in your messages, or maybe it's a comment that somebody has made on a post. Or maybe it's that you were just talking to Susie Q at the school pickup and she saw your reel about the thing and she was asking. Okay, so maybe it's frequently asked questions that maybe people didn't ask in your question box, but you can plug them in there yourself and use it. All right, so here's some bonuses. I'm going to hide over here so you can screenshot. I'll move from side to side, but I want to give you some bonus. 24 reel and carousel prompts. Screenshot this. Break down niche news or updates. Bust an industry myth. Challenge your audience to do something out of their comfort zone. A checklist for blank. Free alternatives to paid apps. Get people to network in the comments. This is a great one for engagement and serving people. So if you have a call out for tell us your best tip for this thing. If you need help with something, comment below with what you need help on. Let's help each other in the comments. You can blank faster than you think. You fill in the blank. A crash course in this. If you want to do this, then watch this. 3 ways to improve your fill in the blank. This is why blank isn't working. Fun fact, people will engage in a negatively propositioned piece of value way more than they will engage in a positive outcome piece of value, because we are creatures who fear failure so bad that we will stop our scroll and we will pay attention and we will read it just so we can make sure we're not making the mistake. Even if it doesn't relate to us in any way, we want to know what mistakes other people are making. So in the event that we have that situation come up sometime in the near future or ever, we know what mistakes to avoid. Let's see. 3 mistakes every blank makes. Then we have the next slide. I'll move over here so you can screenshot. How to blank like a blank. So how to think like a millionaire. How to clean your house like the home edit. How to bake dinner like Martha Stewart. 15 tips from someone who blank. Something that you did. Create blank in under 5 minutes. Remake your best posts. This is the great thing about creating really incredible content is that you could go back and remake your best stuff. You can even repost it, meaning you download it and repost it just like it's brand new content. I do it every single month, and it gets great engagement every single time because hardly anybody who follows you actually gets to see your content. So chances are 90% of your audience didn't see it the first, second, third, fourth, or even the 5th time you posted it. But 7 months down the road, it shows up in their feed and they get to find value from it. I see it happen all the time in Instagram. And even when I notice that it is a repost, I'm like, dang, that was a good repost. Like I see that strategy and I appreciate it. Let's see. Reply to comments as real stickers. 5 reasons you need blank. Trouble with blank. Try this. It takes less time to blank than you think. Ready to quit this and start that. And top 3 favorite resources. So this could keep you busy probably for 2 months in creating content. Did everybody get a screenshot? Amazing. Bree says, I caught today reposting. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you repost content, it just shows people that it's valuable and I know what I'm doing. So let's talk about power partner collaborations. These are an incredible tool that create magic when used strategically. But here's the thing I want to caution you about. You might get excited when we give you all of these tools and exactly how to generate content with power partners and be doing it all day, every day. Here's the thing. You have social currency. You have a value to trade. It is like a commodity. So you want to make sure that you're trading value and introducing your audience to the right people. It's not a great collab just because it's a collab. It's a great collaboration because it's with somebody who brings value and serves your audience. So here's a couple of screenshots from my collaboration with Brock Johnson. And interestingly enough, he actually reached out to me, which was a surprise and delight, I will say. Someone that I look up to and I think, wow, he knows what he's doing, reached out to me because he appreciated my content. So here's an example of what that reach out looked like. And it was super simple. The one thing that you don't see in this screenshot is all the conversation we've had back and forth. So I'm going to teach you how to create that relationship with someone where this doesn't come out of the blue. It just feels like it's the natural progression of what you do together. So let's define your power partner. Because like I said, you have social currency. So you don't want to just collab with anybody. You want to make sure that you're collaborating with someone who brings value, but doesn't necessarily compete. So let's talk about the ways that we can do that. So the first thing you want to do is review your niche audience. So who are they? Who are your niche audience? We've kind of already dived into that. What are their needs? Maybe there's a need that you actually can't serve them in. Maybe there's a need that you're like, that's not my passion. It's not what I love to do, but I know somebody who does love that. What are their desires? What are they looking for? What do they want to feel? What do they want to do? Where do they want to go with their content? What do they want to accomplish? What are their pain points? You probably have that already answered. And then you want to identify complementary offerings. So we're not looking for someone who does exactly what I do. I am someone who teaches about Instagram content. That is my specialty. Susie is the sales queen. We don't necessarily compete. We are actually complementary because we have skill sets into different but complementary areas for our audience. So look at products or services that align with but do not directly compete with your offer. And look at what your audience might need or desire before, during, or after your product or service. Is there something that would help them to be ready to purchase? Is there something that will help them use your product or service? Is there something that will help them move them from one area of your funnel, maybe it's top of funnel where it's just like an introductory product, and move them from the top of funnel to bottom of funnel? What are offerings that could help? And then you want to seek shared values and audience alignment. I had somebody reach out to me and ask about a collaboration, and I looked at their audience, and it was mostly male. And it was so painful because I am a people pleaser. It was so painful to tell them no because I wanted to just say yes and not say no. And I was worried about what they were going to think. But what I had to lean into is the knowledge that my audience is more important than what people think about me. My audience and how I serve them is more important than worrying about somebody being offended, because I said, thank you so much. I love everything that you do. I just don't think that our audiences are in alignment, but maybe in the future there's something that we can collaborate on. Ensure that they align with your own brand values and resonate with your target audience. So there are a ton of people that I can collaborate, but maybe the way that we speak to our audience is different. And I know that I want someone who's more aligned with the way that I speak to my audience, the way that I communicate to them, the value that I teach. Share a similar vision and can create a cohesive and authentic collaboration. It needs to feel authentic because your audience can feel that as well. Select your top power partners. So of those people that we kind of land on after looking and evaluating through that list, choose partners that best align with your business goals, target audience, values, and overall vision. And you want to start building a relationship with them. Think of it like dating, right? Give me a yes or a no in the chat. Yes, if you're like, I love a good cold message. I love when somebody messages me and asks me for something. Or a no if you're like, if I never receive another cold message again in my entire life, I can die a happy woman. Okay, great. I'm glad that you're aligned with me. No, right? We want to know that somebody cares. If we're going to take time away from our family, away from our business, away from our goals to interact with somebody, we want to know that it's true and authentic and they actually care. I can't tell you how many times I get messages of people that say things like, I love your fitness videos. I think that my product would be a great collaboration for you to be an affiliate for. I haven't worked out and I can't tell you how long. I don't have one fitness video on my account, so it's a dead giveaway. I know that they have never looked through my stuff. All they're doing is copying and pasting. We have become really good at sniffing out the cold message. And anybody who thinks that you've got a different way to do it, a different method, a different version to reach out in cold message, you are mistaken. We know. We can smell it a mile away. But what do you do instead? Right? Okay, so I know that I'm never going to cold message again. Summer just reprimanded me, and all my friends here in the course are telling me that they don't love it either. So what do we do instead? I'm going to share my collaboration relationship accelerator. This is how you can speed a little bit through that getting to know you process, but still create true and authentic connection with the person that you want to collaborate with. So the first thing is look for someone with a similar size that has good engagement and posts regularly. And I want to preface this by saying, each of these things that I'm going to tell you to look for, please be a great model for. Because how unfair is it that we expect these people that we want to collaborate with to show up with their audience this way and engage this way, but we're not going to do it. Okay? So I want you to think about what is someone that has a similar size, that has a good engagement and posts regularly. Next thing you're going to do is add them to your favorites list. I don't use my favorites list as a way for me to keep track of posts and use it for my own business. I use it to keep track of things that I want to pay attention to for my business. So the people I want to collaborate with are going to go on this list, and I'm going to spend time engaging with their public posts. I want to engage with their public posts, and here's why. I want to edify them, and I want to give them third-party validation. I want to show them and their audience that what they have is valuable. Doesn't it feel good when someone we respect or someone in our industry recognizes our content? What good is it if you're only doing it in stories? In direct messages. We want to do that publicly. The next thing I want you to do is start replying to their stories, because this is real and authentic engagement where you're not just messaging them a random message. My favorite is, hi. Okay, I love when someone just DMs me hi. The other one that I get a lot is, can I ask you a quick question? That is right away, I know they're trying to sell me something. So the way that you can create engagement in direct messages is through replying to their stories. The next thing you want to do is offer the idea of collaboration. And I'm talking about after a week or two of connecting with them in the DMs through replying to stories and starting that conversation authentically. It's as simple as, hey, I just have been loving your content. I would love to know if you'd like to collaborate. I think it would be so great for us to share XYZ with our audience. So offer that idea. And then what you want to do is outline the collaboration. You want to talk about what that would look like. I had an experience where someone reached out to me for a collaboration, and I said yes, and we were working on it. And we both worked really hard on editing and captioning and all the things. And when it came time to post, and this was back when Reels were actually paying you a good amount of money for your content, when it came time to post, I was like, okay, well, I'll post this one on my feed, and the other one you can post on your feed. And this person said, well, actually, I wanted to post that one on my feed. And so it became a point of not contention, but just something we probably should have outlined ahead of time, because it got a little sticky and we just had to work through it, which is fine. But had we outlined ahead of time what post was going on whose feed, it would have saved us that uncomfortable conversation. So remember, authenticity and genuine connection are key to landing killer Instagram collaboration. They're so important. There is no substitute for authenticity, and using those steps to work on that collaboration will help generate that for you. Now, I know that, give me a question mark if you still are thinking about your niche. If you're like, I still feel like I need a little bit of support with niche. Give me an exclamation point if you're like, I have got it nailed down. Forever and always, my niche statement is done. Question mark if you still need a little bit of help. Exclamation point if you've got it nailed down. Okay, so I know that niche is one of those things that is just ever evolving. It is something that is really tricky to nail down if you are in a place where you still are questioning what value you have and what makes you special. And that is something that requires deeper diving. It requires a little bit more time and attention. So we wanted to give you access to something that could support you with your content and your niche. So I want you to think about if any of these statements resonate with you. Do you feel like you are always struggling? Like you have this desire to serve your audience, but you struggle to define who your niche is. Like you know that you have something to give. And when the niche topic comes up, because everybody keeps telling me I need to niche down, everybody keeps telling me I need to figure out what my value is. If you're someone who feels like, if only I can nail down that one piece, everything else I have got it all. Or maybe you feel overwhelmed with the pressure to continually come up with content ideas. Did anybody get excited when that 24 prompt slide popped up and you're like, finally the answers to my prayers? Finally the answers. So I don't have to think about content prompts. Or maybe you feel like once you get a creative idea, you're like, okay, I can get a creative idea. But once I do, I'm like, I get to the caption and I give up completely because I have no idea what to write there because nobody ever talks to me. Nobody ever comments back. Give me a yes in the chat if this feels a little bit like what you experience on social media. We got a couple. We got a lot. I get it because like I said, that's where I was. So imagine waving goodbye to the daily content chaos, like trying to shoot the reel and trying to figure out what to put on the caption on the screen and what hashtags to use and how do I share it to my stories and how do I get people to actually engage? And what if you could say hello to 6 months of planned content prompts specific to your niche? Not like here's a list of examples and you fill in the blank. The blanks are filled in for 6 months. Give me of one if you're like, that would be so helpful. Can we do that? Would that feel like a breath of fresh air? Would you feel like excited to show up and create content? Would you be like, let's batch the heck out of Reels today? I've got 7 different things that I want to create and I am busting at the seams because I have all of that planned out. There's something that I do every once in a while. I don't offer it very often, and I used to only do this in person, but I know that life is crazy. I know that it's hard to get away, and so I'm going to be offering my 3-day live interactive workshop in July. So you've got time to take the things that you're learning today because there's going to be so many nuggets that you want to implement. Implement them between now and July 10th, 11th, and 12th. And then you're going to jump into this niche course where we help you niche down between 10 and 12:30 each day. It's going to be on Zoom. It is incredibly interactive, and that's what I love. We are going back and forth and chatting in the comments in ways that we're not able to do on a bigger broadcast like this. So the things that we talk about are overcoming confusion and unlocking your creative superpower. We do a deep dive into niche. I gave you just a taste to help you get more clear, but when I gave you those examples and we talked about the target, we do an entire hour course on how do we extract those ideas? How do we figure out what to plug into those places? We do a course on understanding your target audience. We gave you some questions today that are going to help you get into action quickly. But what if you had 100 ideas for things that make them tick? Things that they hate, things that they love, objections they need to overcome, problems that they run into, tips that they would be saving all day long. What if you could create 100 ideas for that? Then we talk about an evergreen content strategy. So evergreen, meaning it's not tied to a service, product, time of day, year, like world pandemic. It's not tied to anything. It is good on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and twice on Saturday. This is content that does not matter where you are in your sales cycle. It's content that is helpful and valuable, and you could post any day of the week at any time. And here's the great thing. You can post it year after year. What if you could create 6 months of content and then just go in and refresh and repost? And it's still relevant and still helpful. You get a 6-month content mastermind where for those of you who are like, I really could use some feedback on that niche statement. And I saw you guys do it in the chat and it was incredible. We do a masterclass where we just brainstorm and mastermind around everybody's niche and we talk through the things that they're struggling with and we use everybody's creativity to support them. There's a follow-up action plan. So great, I've got all of this content. What do I do now? We talk about how to post it, where to post it, how to repurpose it. Wouldn't it be great if you created this for Instagram, but you understood how to shift and adjust so that you could just paste it over on Facebook or TikTok? Maybe you hand it off to somebody else to do the reposting and you get to show up on all the different platforms that you want to without extra effort. We have an engaging caption course. Anybody get stuck with captions? I'm telling you. My dream would be to, like, if I could just be a Kardashian and just post an emoji and get like 100 million comments, wouldn't that be the life? But guess what? Like, we weren't born to be a celebrity. We were born to serve. We are here to help others. And so we help you with your content creation in the captions as well, because it's not just about video. It's not just about graphics. It's about what you say and how you help them. And then one of the most incredible tools that is underutilized today in content creation and in business is ChatGPT. It's an AI, an artificial intelligence. We're going to help you to target your own skill and creativity And then we're going to fast forward that creativity and use it in a way that you can work faster, smarter, and you can get more done using support of artificial intelligence. But guess what? They don't know your audience like you know your audience. That's the first piece. We're going to help you understand your audience so well that you can have this artificial intelligence working for you in tripling and quadrupling your output of content and make it even better. So there's a couple of bonuses that I wanted to give you because you're here today. And so I put together a bundle that you'll get if you register for this workshop by June 7th. So you've got a week. I'm going to give you 50 Canva story and carousel templates. So templates that you just plug into Canva and you take the information and maybe switch out the colors and you can create 50 posts just quickly and easily. And then you can go in and adjust those posts and make them more like your brand templates. So all you have to do is go back in and change it when you have a new content idea. I'm going to give you my ultimate hook guide. So I gave you some prompts, right? I gave you 24 prompts. Would you want 50 hooks? Would that be helpful? I give you a hook guide with 50 hooks that catch people's attention and bring them in. I'm going to give you 90 days access to the CEO Society membership, which is my content library of over 200 training videos on content, on social media. We do editing, we do transitions. I've got Reels challenges in there. I'm going to give you access for 90 days. I'm also going to give you my Rock the Reels batching webinar, which teaches you how I batch content. And it's very different than what most people do, because I sit down and I will bust out as many pieces of video as possible, but I do it in a way that gives me maximum content creation for minimum time. And then we're going to give you a coupon code for $150 off your ticket.
Oh my gosh. This was so good. Why I was like, Summer, we should offer this. I want you to know the things to do. You just learned what to do. But if you are a shortcut gal, like myself, who's like, okay, I just need a little accountability. I want to do this in as little as time as possible, with as little as guesswork as possible. This is your container. But I do want you to feel like, hey, we know it. We know it.
Yeah.
We know it. But this is the place you're going to shortcut it up and learn to batch like a freaking boss. The one and only time I was ever like consistent with Reels when I was in Summer's program, and I went viral twice. Viral for me. Viral for me. It's like, oh yeah, effort and actually getting this in and having that support.
It actually works.
It is so helpful, and to see like I don't have to spend. The other day she was at my house and we're shooting this reel, and I was like, our hands didn't come on with the music at the right time. She's like, who cares? Just get it out. Like, you just got to get it out. And that's what I love. You're like, done is better than perfect. Let's do a whole lot of shit. So thank you.
You're
Summer,
so
thank you guys for that
welcome.
awesome offer. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a 1-song break, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to learn all the things about stories. So go potty, grab a drink, get your wiggles
Move
out,
around
move.
a little bit.
Yep, and we'll come right back. We'll see you in a few. So, welcome to the Insta Stories Playbook. I learned everything I know about Insta Stories back when I was an influencer. There was 60,000 people watching me every day. First it was 200 people, and then it was 5, and then it was a shiz ton, and then it was almost a little bit out of control. And what really I nailed in there was what I did this experiment for 30 days. And I said, you know what? I'm actually really sick of being this knockoff copy of every influencer I know, doing the same things that they're doing. I'm going to try something radical. And I remember sitting with my husband in our kitchen floor, and I said, I want to do a thing. I want to go private on Instagram, and I want to drop all these walls and all this fake me, and I want to like stop trying to pose the perfectly colored white baby with a white backdrop whose hat is $45, and I want to look perfect, and I'm going to just drop all that, and I just want to show our real life. And I was like, it could be really scary, and everyone could leave, because they are used to influencer Susie, who everything looks very curated. And what you're seeing behind me was the opposite of curated. It was ups and downs and highs and lows and snotty noses and crying and excitement and journeying and cleaning, and what weren't we doing in those 30 days? But what I learned in those 30 days was the value of just being myself. When you are your actual self, your soul self, you're one that's not always trying to manipulate how other people see you. Like what we really are doing, most of us, when we go to Insta stories is we're saying, I want to put on a facade that makes you think I'm trustworthy, that makes you think I'm cute, that makes you think I'm sexy, that makes you think I'm professional. And so we're always trying to kind of say, can you look at me in this way? Can you look at me in this way? Instead of just, here I am, here's what you get. But there is something about authenticity that's like a drug. Why is there 60,000 people watching? Why do I have so many people watching today? Is it because I'm out there providing this stellar content that people are like, wow, that was so helpful to my life? No, it's because those people that are at home within themselves, that are authentic, they are a breath of fresh air. They are magnets. And that is what you need to be to make Insta Stories work for you. Authenticity is like a magnet to getting people to care and come hang out with you. So the main problem here is we try to control how people see us. What we really want is we want to make sure our mom feels comfortable and our dad and my friend Kim, and then my old clients need to feel comfortable, instead of just saying, I'm just going to do me here, and who comes is going to be who comes. So giving up control of how you are perceived is the work. It is the number one work of Instagram stories, giving up control of other people's perceptions. Because guess what? They're not seeing us. What they're actually seeing is themselves. They're seeing their own traumas. And when that one time when their mom says that she was inadequate, and now I said something like this, and then it makes her feel inadequate, and then this triggered her, and then I was at the grocery store, and I got peanut butter, and she's like, oh, you should have organic peanut butter. That girl is not my vibe. It has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with their life stories, their lived experiences that create their lens. So when we try to be like, here's this lens, take this lens, this is the lens I want you to see me with, does it work? No. And it feels very uncomfortable. What Instagram stories are, when done great, is a more clear mirror, because you aren't trying to filter the way people are seeing you. You're just being you. And when you're you, they can see better parts of themselves in you. I want us to never, ever, ever, ever underestimate just the actual curiosity of human beings. We're just curious mother effers. We're like, what's she wearing? What's she eating for breakfast? Oh, that's cool. What's she putting on her eyes? I need a new eye concealer. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder, that's why we love behind the scenes. We're so curious. Like, let me take a peek in there. Let me get under the hood. Never underestimate just the curiosity that we as human beings have. This is where stories can really crush it, because it is this connection of tool and interest that, say you worked at Chase Bank. You're not going to know the teller. You're not going to know her name. You're not going to know her kid's name. You're not going to know what she likes for breakfast. You're not going to know where she shops. But if you did, you'd go straight into Chase and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I love that dress. I know you got it at Nordstrom. That's so fun. How was your acai bowl? And guess what? You're probably going to stay at Chase Bank longer. You're maybe going to bank with her. You're going to make sure that she's who you spend your most money with. It's because you know her. You like her. You trust her. And that's what stories are for. But you know what most of us do? We flip it on, and we're like, okay, what should I say? What should I delete? I'm going to try that again. And every single time you try it, guess what happens? You get more weird and less authentic. The mirror gets even more cloudier. And by the end, you're like, I am not posting that. What have I done? So what we're going to work on throughout this is how do you flip open that camera and be your damn self? Because that's what you need. That's when you are a magnet. How do we do it? There's strategies, there's tips, and there's just mostly bravery. You guys, we just want to know each other. This human experience is lonely. It's lonely. And you're like, I think I'm the only one going through stuff like this. I think I'm the only one that has 400 kid socks. As I look right now, as I'm giving this presentation, there's a dog-chewed skateboard here. There's a disco ball. There's a blow-up toy that my kids are around. What I could do is say, I'm Susie Holman. I am a 7-figure business owner. I am the embodiment of a leader. No, that's not what you want from me. You're like, I'm a mom too. There's a half-eaten dog chewed up skateboard where I'm working too. So show them that side, because that is when you call in the right people. So how do we do this? First and foremost, do me a favor. Please, most of us here, lots of us here are mothers. Please be protective of their time. Be protective of their time. So you're not going to go and you're not going to tell a 4-minute story that doesn't really have a point. because they need their time. So be protective. Just think through, like, is this really not necessarily adding value, but is this going to make them feel something? And then that's the kind of stuff you can post. And then we're going to release yourself from their judgment. You guys, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. Why I'm drawn to Instagram, of course, is because it's all a soul pursuit. Every single time I go to do an Instagram story, it is a practice in releasing people's judgment and centering and rooting into who I am. Do I actually love myself? Do I need these people to love me? And when the answer is no, I don't actually need you to love me. I love me. Then this gets a lot easier. So I want you to start thinking of Instagram stories. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go convert 400 million things right now. I want you to think of Instagram stories as this is the most incredible practice in being my true self. In being my true self, it is going to be such an expansive journey for you. So how do we do this? Why do we tell stories? Stories are literally called stories for stories. We want to tell a story. How do we tell a story in a way that makes people feel like they know you, like you, trust you, releases that amazing dopamine? How do we tell a story? Let me tell you a story. So there's these guys, Rob Walker and Josh Glenn. They are working for the New York Times, and they start this idea. They have this idea. Let's go collect crap from like Goodwill. There's a Santa nutcracker. There's an old vase. There's some plates. What they bought was for $129 of that kind of garbage that we all have somewhere under our houses. They said, let's do this. We're going to buy $129. Then we're going to have participants in this study write stories about these items. We're going to give them personas. We're going to write why this nutcracker means so much. And do you know what happened? Woo! My things are going crazy. You know what happened? They listed them on eBay. They sold for $3,600. A 2,700% increase in the value of that item with a story. 2,700% increase? Would anybody like a 2,700% increase in their sales? 1,000,000%. How do we do that? It's psychology. It's all about how our humans connect, human to human. Stories from the beginning of time. This is what anchors entire communities, entire civilizations. We are rooted in beliefs in similar stories. So how do we tell an effective story? So, most important thing that happens when we tell a story is this amazing release of oxytocin. Oxytocin, it is the love hormone. And when people watch your stories, they feel this release. They feel this breath of fresh air. It releases oxytocin in their body, which automatically makes them feel safety and them feel trust. So instead of not releasing oxytocin, your mind is always on guard. She's going to sell me something. She's here to take my money. This is going to take away from my family. That's what our bodies do. But then we're like, oh my gosh, I love her. I connect with her. We get oxytocin. We get safety and trust just by being ourselves and telling our life stories. How epic is that? Using stories to help people feel. So what is this word I keep saying, this buzzword that everyone uses? Oh, I'm very authentic. What is this authenticity? Authenticity is when your energy matches your words and your words match your actions. Authenticity is when your energy matches your words and your words match your actions. So I could be feeling like a pile of freaking garbage. I could have just gotten a fight with my kid. And then I pull up on Instagram stories. I'm like, hey, everybody. Oh, it's such a good day. My son, I'm just enjoying this day so beautifully. They're going to feel it. Do you know why? Because through human evolution, we have come to be incredible experts. You don't have to say words. We are vibratory creatures. The first language that we learned was not goo goo, gaga, mama, daddy. We learned to mimic the vibrations of our mothers. We learned to understand what vibrations meant. So when your face and your words, if it doesn't match your energy, that is being inauthentic. I hate more than anything the word fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. I'm like, that doesn't work because you know what? We can tell you're faking it. So can we maybe not with that? So I'm going to teach you some stuff that, like, how do you make all these match? Because sometimes I do feel insecurity and I do feel guilt. How do we be our authentic selves? First of all, we got to be aware of when we're not being authentic. When can you go to flip open that store and you're like, I'm not feeling that super hot about myself. Maybe this isn't the time that I should be doing that. You can feel in your body when it's not really feeling that good. That's not your time. That's not your time. That doesn't serve anybody. So, energy doesn't lie. You guys, we make thousands of multi-dimensional judgments about people within milliseconds before we're even consciously aware of our computations. Milliseconds. Our brain's just doing this for us. We're not even consciously trying to judge people or pick up on their vibes. We're subconsciously doing it. This is the greatest practice of Instagram stories and making them work. We have to realize that it's all energy. It's not our words. It's not our texts. It's not the music. It's the energy that you actually feel when you go to your stories. That is the shiz that matters. So, how do we do this? What are we putting in stories? We're putting surprises, we're putting feelings, visual moments, auditory moments, artistry. Let's get into all of these to give that feeling, that energy, that feeling that releases dopamine in our watchers. How do we do it? The first easiest gimme of all time that's just fun is surprise. We love in a plot, when there's a good plot twist, you're like, whoa. I was used to seeing her at her dad's talking about being a realtor, and she's just realtoring it up, and I'm used to her doing that. But all of a sudden, you come in and you're like, what? There's a rattlesnake? Where'd the rattlesnake come from? Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting to see a rattlesnake today. Oh my gosh, what is Susie doing hanging upside down in her living room with silk tight thingies? It's because your brain isn't going to expect or see that coming. And our lives are full of these. Our lives are full of unexpected twists and turns. It's called being human. It's so fun. You live life every day, and there's these fun, exciting, interesting. I mean, the rattlesnake in my backyard, I would not call that as much fun, but I will call that excellent content. Thank you, rattlesnake. So what is the stuff that's just coming up for you? Yeah, maybe not every day has this awesome where you're like always trying to do something new and crazy, but there's probably stuff coming in your life that just surprises you. That's interesting. Right here, I had a massive problem of birds flying in my house. They were just pooping everywhere. I left the doors open, couldn't get them under control. I'm up there and I have these giant Post-it notes and I'm trying to shoo the birds away. That's unexpected from Susie, the business coach, to be all of a sudden dealing with bird crap everywhere. Not totally unexpected for my followers, though, because you know what they have come to expect from me. The unexpected. That's why they keep watching. I'm not one note. They're not going to get to the same thing every single day. Showing different angles of your life. Sure, there's the mom me. We're going to McDonald's. We're in the checkout line. Then there's the very business professional version of me, this one that is so excited to present to you. Then we got me feeling a little vulnerable in a towel. This is all different angles of me. Because we're all parts of us. Why would we only show one part of our leadership? Why would we only show one part of our business? Do you like those friends who are like, I know exactly what we're going to talk about every single time that we hang out? We're going to talk about the same thing. We're probably going to talk about other people, then we're going to talk about your husband, then we're going to talk about your kids, the weather, and we go. That's what y'all are doing on your Instagram stories, and we're done. Deal? Promise? We are multidimensional humans. Let ourselves have permission to be multidimensional. Because every time we're multidimensional, I don't have to be selling you something for you to know me, like me, and trust me. So when it comes time to sell you something, I'm not like, I got to get you to know you and like me and trust me in 15 seconds. You're like, I just do this kind of every day. So we trust people that we can see ourselves in. We trust people that we can see ourselves in. That's why when I show a picture of me on a plane with my mouth wide open, holding my 2 kids, when I show the craft supplies that are just going crazy, my niche is mother entrepreneurs. People who have crafts rooms that look like this. People sleeping on planes like this. Those are my people. Those are my people that I hope to inspire, like, okay, that girl can do that. I think I can do it. That's why we want to see ourselves in other people. And you know what happens every time I post stuff like this? This is what people say. This is literally, I posted this yesterday. This is so real. This is so real life and the truth behind all of our cameras. Thank you for your bravery. I feel seen. Oxytocin? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for letting us be human together. What a gift. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be your real self. The reason why you're afraid is because you're afraid of judgment. But what if you didn't let that judgment stick? What would you be capable of? How far would your Instagram stories go? Who would you connect with if you weren't so damn scared of that judgment? Food for thought. So, other ideas. What do we put on our Instagram stories? People love a good vacation. My story views are always like, whoa, boom, when we're going on someplace cool. Because we want to escape with you. Cool, I'm here at my office and you're going to be in Costa Rica. I want to see what Costa Rica's like. That's why my kids watch Ninja Kids. They're like, I want to know what it's like to kind of like be a ninja. They want to escape with you. So take them with you. Take them with you. Make them back pocket friends. You don't have to show your whole vacation, but a little bit. Another great tip to get these people just engaged is inside jokes are incredible. With your friends, your actual friends, you have inside jokes, right? You make fun of the same things for years. You're telling the same stories again and again and again. So recently, I had this craft cart that I knew I shouldn't buy because I'm not a craft mom, but I went all out on buying craft supplies. I'm like, we're going to get real wild here. And I even bought a craft cart because I had such big visions. 2 weeks later, the craft cart is still in the car. And people probably knew that was coming for me, so we celebrated. I'm like, yay, you guys have a special announcement. The craft cart made it out of the car. And people are like, yes, a win for you is a win for all of us. Go motherhood. Bring them along. Make them feel part of the in crowd. Back when I was an influencer, we had this character named Pamela. She was my Karen. I called her Pamela, and I would literally read my Reddit forums or things that people said to me out loud. Remember when I was an influencer and I had 200,000 followers and I had thousands of people watching my stories every day, and they could get very savage. So I took that, spinned it, and I made it one of the greatest engagement tools ever was giving Pamela this identity. Bring everyone in on Pamela. We're all against the Pamelas in our lives together. I mean, also, did it get a little low vibe? Yes, I will say. But great inside joke. Next, then we have me up here. I'm Noah. I'm just straight Noah's in the ark. This was after the birds were coming, the snakes were coming. Do you guys know how many this one slide sold of this branding workshop? 76 people bought because of this slide. I just saw your faces. You're like, what? What just happened? Oxytocin just happened. Trust. Oh my gosh, she's human. This will be fun. I also think this is going to be valuable. She's my people. I'm on a boat. I'm Noah. I don't do this that often, but when I do, it works because people are in on the joke. They get it. We're friends, right? So I'm going to talk about one of the most important tools that you can ever learn, ever. I want you to burn this into your DNA. This is how we're going to tell stories, okay? This is the story arc. Every single thing that every story you've ever watched, every movie, every book follows the same story arc. Your Instagram stories should follow the same arc. So first, we have the setup. The setup, this is when you know what's going on. This is what you know within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Okay, the guy wants the girl wants that job. That's the setup. Then there's an inciting incident. Something that makes it be like, oh yeah, this is why it's important that she gets the girl. Then there's rising action. Then there's the climax, the peak of the story where it's epic fireworks. Then it's like, did that work? Success or failure? Then we're kind of coming down, we're falling, and then the story is resolved. So this is kind of a lot to conceptualize, like, okay, how do I make this work for my business? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas and examples. Right now in this section, we're just talking about how to tell stories, and then we'll get to story selling later. So, who went to the Taylor Swift concert? Give me a hands up, drop a 1 in the chat. If you spent a fortune on Taylor Swift like I did, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And how many people, if you didn't go to the Taylor Swift concert, how many people have watched 700 people go to the Taylor Swift concert? Drop a 2 in the chat if you're like, I didn't go, but I basically feel like I did because everyone was storying about it. There they come. Everyone's storying their Taylor Swift. Everyone. Let me show you how one very amazing way to story the Taylor Swift experience that worked very well for me looks like. This was the setup. Can you hear that? Nope. Maybe you can't. So I said we are deep in the Taylor Swift portal right now, going to the concert tonight, getting ready 6 hours early because fun. That is my setup. That's my setup. That's my setup. I didn't just all of a sudden pop up at Taylor Swift. I'm like, guys, this is special. I'm telling you a special story right here. We're getting ready 6 hours early because it's that special. Me and my daughter going to Taylor Swift. That's the setup. Then we move to the rising action. The rising action I put in my text. I said, the best night ever, coming right up. We're not at the climax yet. We're just rising. We're getting excited. The outfit's cute. We're wearing sparkles. And the anticipation is building. Then we're going to make it to climax. You know what I did? I said, we went so hard. My mind is bent at the production and the talent of that show. How do you feel like you were there? Do you feel like, oh, maybe does that hit a little different than outward? And you're like, the person's on the 400th row, and you see Taylor Swift in this tiny bit. You feel what I felt. You feel the emotion of like, oh, that's so beautiful with her daughter. That's so fun. I want to be singing and jumping up and down. Does that feel different to you? What people do is they usually show, this is the experience I'm having, and they face their camera outward. People are like, neat experience. And we face it the other way, and we say, this is how I feel about the experience I'm having. People are all of a sudden like, I felt that. I felt that. So we're not documenting the experiences. We're documenting our feelings on the experiences. So I wanted to have that moment, right? I wanted people to know, like, I'm actually here. She's on the stage. So this is our coming down. We climaxed. We were just having the time of our lives. So then we're coming down. Instead of just posting this video of her, this is how I felt about it. I'm so inspired by all the versions of Taylor Swift, constant death and rebirth, and I love her for it. This is what inspired action in me. This is what made my heart sing. Not just there she is on the stage. It's like this is what it meant for me, for her to be on the stage. Don't just share your experiences. Share your feelings on the experiences. Then the resolution. People, you don't want to just leave them there. Most people, they're like, climax, leave them. Climax, leave them. That actually doesn't feel good for the wiring of our brains when we're going on a story with someone and then they're like, stopped. That doesn't feel good for us. But that's what most of us do. Either we'll pop in at the climax being like, this meant nothing to me, or we'll get them at the climax and then we won't resolve it. Our bodies, our nervous system, give them the resolution. Guys, I made it home. It's 1:55 in the morning. Todd's such a good dad. He's sleeping on the porch. They're like, story over. Awesome. So, people are saying, this is where I struggle because lifestyle isn't our niche. Are you alive? Are you alive? Then being alive is part of your niche in stories. It does not matter if your stories are every day. I'm adding value in ADHD. I'm adding value in diet. I'm adding value on this. I promise you your story views are going to be nil because it's expected. That's amazing. What Summer just taught us, what to do in our feeds and how to add this epic value in our feeds is money. And then when it comes to stories, we're telling stories. It doesn't matter if it's about our business all of the time. Because you know what we want? We just want connection. It is not the follower count on Instagram that has made the most money for me, made millions. It is human connection. So when you're like, but I have to serve in this way, you're literally just robbing your people of human connection. That I have found is the ticket. And when you're really good at being a human connector, I know some of the faces on here. We have a boutique owner. We have Jacqueline, who owns a school for kids with autism. We have someone who does sprouted walnuts. We have a realtor on here. How did I get so far out of my niche of like, what would be the niche that would include all of you? Female business owners. How can you make up for that a little bit by having to not be quite so specific? Is human connection. So, you're going to do that, right? Drop a 1 in the chat. You're like, I can do this. I can show more parts of my life. Yes, 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 yes. And you know what you're going to see? You're going to see Kim from high school be like, dude, I haven't seen you forever. Where you been? She didn't give a crap about my business content, but she's like, there she is. That was so fun. We were together in high school. Now she's watching. Maybe down the road, she's starting a business, and I'm Kim's person. They're going to come back when you just start being human in your stories. So let's watch. This was a more complex storytelling situation. Let's get after it. This was the setup. You guys, Lucy is in the all-school spelling bee, and I'm a nervous wreck. Then I showed the words. They were crazy. She's in 5th grade. I couldn't even pronounce half the words. I don't even think they were in English. I was so nervous. The inciting incident, why this was a big deal to me. I go on to explain to my family. I said, Lucy's spelling bee is about to start. Mystery. That's the word that haunts me. I got out on the word mystery in 5th grade. So all of a sudden, Lucy's, my daughter's thing, is now personal to me. And all you, drop in the chat the words you got off on in the spelling bee. I know you have one. Mine was mystery. Drop it in the chat. Tongue, independent. Tomorrow. That is a tricky one. Vertical, that was disappointments, ironically. Listen, we all have the word. So guess what? This isn't about my daughter anymore. This is for all of us. This is for every single one of us who've ever been in a spelling bee. We get it. You go, Lucy. Do it for all of us. This is no longer just, Lucy's in the spelling bee. I'm so proud. This is for all of us. Cereal. That is a hard one, honestly. Like, why does that start with a C? So, then this is the rising action.
Silsikism.
We are in the car. We are practicing, everyone. We are ready for the spelling bee. It's going to be big. This is big emotions here. We can feel it. Because you know how you can feel it? Because do we remember? Energy and vibrations transfer through the phone. So you can feel like, whoa, we're all in this. We're all feeling something. So then we reach the climax moment. Oh my gosh. Lucy has made it to the final 4. I am not okay. Once again, this is not Lucy has made it. This is about Lucy. This is about my experience. It is not my job to post my children's experiences. That is their life. This is me. And also, quick note, I like to be very safe when I'm ever posting about other people's children on the internet. I make sure to always blur out everyone's faces. If I have friends that come over with my friends, I've either asked their mother, hey, is it cool if he's on Instagram? Or I just blur them out. It's just a privacy thing. It just makes me feel more comfortable as a mom, as a parent. People are going to love you for it. Just block out their faces. So the climax is, I'm not okay. Then the next is, next down on the arc, we're coming down now. Did she have success or failure? Let's see.
Leprosy. Leprosy.
Ah, she had a failure. That is not how you spell leprosy. Leprosy, I believe. Shucks. Okay. So are we just sharing stories or it's like, Taylor Swift, epic, gone? No, because that's not the human experience. We're not just showing the parts of human where we won so big and it was epic. We're sometimes showing the part where like, that was disappointing. That actually kind of sucked, but it was a fun journey getting up there. This is how it ended. That's the human experience. That's authenticity, when you can point to success or failure. So then we got to come down. We got to bring them down. I'm not leaving them there. They're like, oh, I feel heartbroken for her. I feel heartbroken for me. The word mystery. So where do we go next? The coming down. Are you so proud of her for me, though? Actually, she's so cute. She's so cute. We're very proud of her. We bring the story down, and then we bring it down to a resolution. In my resolution, I say, generational healing. The traumas of my 5th grade spelling bee. I'll never get over that she's my child. We wrap it up. We tie it in a bow. Thank you for watching. We made it through the spelling bee together. We did it for all of our 5th grade selves. Someone says, but why would people want to watch my life? Why wouldn't people want to watch your life? Every single human's life is wildly interesting. You have your own stories. You have your own unique perspective. You have the reason why you bought that thing behind your desk. You have the reason why you eat the way you do. You have the relationship with your friends, your parents, your specific way of talking. Do you know how they caught the Unabomber? Did anyone watch Unabomber on Netflix? Epic, must watch immediately. Because they figured out his text was different. They could narrow down where he was from due to the way he said things like water. From like, okay, this narrows down his geographical thing. It's because we all have little things that make us interesting. I say shiz. That makes me interesting. I like pink. That makes me interesting. I have a dog. That makes me interesting. I like wearing weird lipstick sometimes. That makes me interesting. We're all interesting humans. And the only thing that's holding you apart is people that are like, I'm not interesting. What would you give if you could just go into someone's house and just follow them around for a day? How fascinated would you be by everything? Be like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Wow, that's weird. I just saw her yelling at kids like that. That's weird. Oh, interesting. We would do it, right? We'd probably pay money to do it. Oh, wait, we do. It's called reality TV. I mean, yeah, they crank up the volume on it a little bit. So do we. All of us are interesting. I promise you that. That's why reality shows are the most watched TV shows on the earth. Going back, please never underestimate the power of just good old-fashioned human curiosity. And those of us who are willing to be like, I'm opening the curtains. You can take a peek behind here. What's going on? People are like, oh, I'm in. I'm all in for that show. And we get to decide what we show them, right? We're not showing it. We get to decide. We get to decide. So let's do a story arc form in a short story.
You spend 92% of your summer actually in the pool. And while ours is incredibly aesthetically pleasing, a nice rectangular shape, a spa vibe, it's not that fun. Most people have like rocks. We do have an illegal diving board. Don't tell the authorities. These are no longer created, like literally outlawed. We have one. We do have that going for us. Tried many things, like remote control boats. That died 30 seconds in. An actual graveyard of pool toys out here. Like, hey, I think we found success! New pool thing. Are you stoked?
What would that look like if I just did a story that was a picture of the basketball hoop? What would your emotions have been? Dead inside. That means nothing to you. That means nothing to me. You don't have a pool. You don't have a pool hoop. That means nothing to you. You're like, oh, I understand why this pool hoop is important to her. I understand that like there's some emotion behind this pool toy. Huh, that's interesting. Do you see how the story arc works? You're seeing how the story arc works? I want you to think back through, has anyone like used the story arc? Maybe you've used it on accident. That's awesome. Yep, Camille says, this is brilliant. I only ever post the completed recipe or the yard work done or the kitchen cleaned. We're missing the whole part. That is the last part. That is a resolution. That is the most boring part. The fun part is when you put the music on and you're jamming out while you're scraping it down. That is the part of the trip. Yes, our egg hunt for jewelry. I just did this with my kids' 4-H animal show cell. I remember, I watched those stories, Jen. I was like, this is so interesting. I'm like cheering on the thing. He's like brushing a goat, and I'm here for it. She didn't just post at the end. My kid won an award. You were excited. You were invested. That's why we're telling stories and stories, to get investment. Okay. Yep. Someone says, my entire account used to do this, and then I got into business, and I don't do it so much anymore. Back to the basics. Storytelling is the best. Okay, so how else do we get people to stay watching? If you notice in every single one of my slides, I had text overlays. 60% of people these days are watching without any sound on. And most of us, we don't even, our brain capacity, we're like, I'm not waiting for those caption things to load. Just tell me what it's about. So always make sure you write in the captions. If you're in a pinch and a rush, use the caption things. But if you're not, please, I promise this will increase your story views. Say in text what this story is about. Even better, say in text what your heart is about this subject. Like Taylor Swift. I'm like, she could have just shown the Taylor Swift. But I said, I love that Taylor Swift has allowed herself to be so many versions of herself. Death and birth on repeat. I'm so inspired. Text overlays with your feelings on the subject. And our brains, they love familiarity. Our brains love that makes our nervous systems feel safe. So when sometimes we're doing bright green font and then we're doing pink font and then all of a sudden it's cursive and I actually can't read that one, our brain's like, I'm not safe. This is too chaotic. This is taking too much of my actual brain power. That's why I recommend, are these the most aesthetically pleasing? No, the cutest ones are like fine script. But you know what? That takes a lot of brain calories for me to work through those clouds to see how you feel about it. So try to use the text overlays that are very clear and easy to read and don't take a lot of our brain power. And use the same ones. And then if you're going to change them all at once. Our brains love that familiarity, so use that. Am I even saying that right? Familiarity. There we go. It's a hard one. 5th grade spelling bee. I did not win. Not the champion. So How do we increase this feeling that people are feeling behind each and every story that we do? We already know it's about how we're feeling. It's about the vibration. But other ways are text overlays, talked about those. Then we're talking about something pretty. You just kind of want to make it a vibe if you can. Make it aesthetic. We as humans, we love art. That's why we love gorgeous movies. So something pretty. And music, oh, such a gimme for just like increasing that vibration of that content. Give it some music. It is money in the bank for music. And just a tip, because I hear this question a lot. People are like, I have cool music options. Usually if you're a business account, you get less of the cool music options. So if you go to a creator account, that unlocks a lot more for you. So the vibration of the moment is critical. So this was a gorgeous. That's a fine man right there. That's a fine man. This intimacy of this moment. I didn't even have to say anything. People were like, I want to be there. I want to be in a beach house, laying with my husband watching TV. The Todd Father for the win. If you are feeling something in that moment, you're like, this feels special. Sometimes those moments are absolutely to keep to yourself, 1,000,000 bajillion cajillion %. But sometimes you're like, I want to remember this. This feels so special to me. I'm just going to take a picture and attach the vibration. Todd is like, for the actual love, please change the slide. I love that moment. What can I say? The vibration came across. Okay. What you are feeling, I promise you this. This is the number one thing that no one's telling you about on stories, except right here. What you are feeling energetically will be attached to what the story is. They will feel what you are feeling. The energy cannot lie. It's the most amazing evolution process of our lives that we can be like, I don't trust that person. They're saying the right words, but something's off. What you are feeling, and like, oh my gosh, I feel something with that story. I don't even know why, I just feel it. So what you're feeling is going to energetically be attached. So this feeling of me and Lucy, I'm just like, we are just living life. We're so pumped. We're loving it. Can you feel this photo through the screen? You can feel it. You can feel our excitement. In that moment, I felt it. I felt so excited. So how do we actually okay, got it. We got the vibes, we got the music, we got the text overlays, we're story arcing it up. How do we actually get our current views to increase? So 24-hour breaks are money in the bank. I take Wednesdays and I take Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off. I used to be 24/7, nonstop. Last week, I actually took 6 weeks off for the entire summer. Didn't see a soul. Thinking, this could be an interesting experiment. People may be gone when I come back. You know what happened? I came back and it was like, story views are crazy. They're like, where were you? Oh my gosh, tell me everything. We get in this scarcity mindset of like, oh, it's 10 a.m. I have to show up for the people or they're going to lose me and they're going to not love me anymore. That's such our ego shiz talking. And I know this well because I do this too. But when you let yourself have these 24-hour breaks, I would not recommend you go on a 6-week break unless you are massively consistent. I've been doing stories for a decade, whenever your stories came out. I've been doing them for that long. So people knew that it wasn't just like, oh, she was there every day and then she was not. So probably don't do that unless you have a great track record of consistently showing up. But taking these 24-hour breaks, I don't know what it does for the algorithm, but when you come back, it's amazing. And when you do come back, use that first slide as something that has that interaction feature, whether that's like a poll, whether that's asking them a question, whether that's like a slider bar that they slide over. That is going to refresh and get the most eyeballs because I believe the algorithm, it is like, okay, people are engaging on this, people are engaging this, show. So use that little tip with the engagement buttons. This can look like the polls. I love doing this on lots of Mondays because I think it's valuable for people also. I say, today you want to fill in the blank. Me, gratitude. I'm helping people have a present moment of intentionality with that. So that feels valuable to me. That's not like, oh, there's a snake in Susie's backyard and now she's doing this. It's like, this is valuable. Let's all take a minute. That is some value content that I add in my stories. People wanted to feel mental peace, happy, accomplished, capable, peacefully grounded, alive. And you know what happened vibrationally when they put those things? Their body got closer and closer to that state. Thank you, dopamine. Thank you, value. That's how I come back oftentimes after my weekends off. And then sometimes I'm a little rusty. I'm like, it's been 2 days and I apparently forgot how to make stories. I'm going to lead with a picture. For me, people love outfit pictures. Who doesn't love outfit pictures? Honestly. What? Were any of you not the little girl that was like flipping through the magazine like, oh, that woman's so pretty. This is so fun. Inside of all of us, we're still that 8-year-old girl. We just forget it. We're like, I'm covering it up and I must add value in analytics and data and research. We're still just 8-year-olds, curious, want to know what people are wearing, wanting to look cute, wanting to be fun, feel confident. So outfit pictures work really well for me. Full body, you should give them a shot. The next thing I do is the setting up. The setting up, ideally you do this in the morning. This is the setup. This was my setup here said last month we were in our bird era. This month is proving to be, oh, something's coming here. We're along for a ride, everybody. Where are we going? The story has been set up. Then the setup it led to, there was a snake in my backyard. Now we're into a snake moment. So how we're going to set up in the mornings. That's a way to just automatically increase your story views. We're going to do setups of our stories we're going to tell. We're going to use those as stickers. We're going to take breaks. Then we got to call them from our feed, we got to call them to our stories. We got to make sure like, oh, do you want to see the rest of this story in stories? Hey, do you want this? Do you want the last of the 5 tips? I'm posting it in stories. Hey, did you see what happened on stories? Hey, Pamela, did you see what's up in stories? You got to constantly be calling them to the stories. Call them in, call them in, call them in, call them in. If you had a great story day that you were like, I was on today. My very vibration was just there. I told a great story. Definitely make sure to tell the same story in a piece of the story in the thing. Someone says, how does this work with a company with no face? Jill says, Jill, you work in where Jill probably works. Jill, where do you work? Tell me where you work. We are a team of 5 women. Oh, then you have it made in the shade because you have 5 stories you can tell. You have 5 different people of like, we walked in the office today. Everyone was feeling cranky. Oh my gosh, our cycles are now together. Do you cycle with the people you work at? This is so crazy. Oh my gosh, we all started tracking our cycles together in our workplaces. Now it's such a better environment. You're already living the stories. You're living them. Your employees are living them. You're not consciously thinking about the stories, but when you start thinking about the stories, you're going to get people more and more attached as you start to tell them. We're a property, a corporate property. Awesome, epic. Tell the space of every property. This space, we're naming her Jill. Jill is a sleek, fun-looking woman. She brings in these professionals. She loves when Jake walks through her door every day. Jake walks through her door and makes her feel blah, blah, blah. Now the space went from like just a space, like the space has a persona, the space has a feeling, the space has a personality, the space has a name. What can you do to make the inanimate have feelings, have reaction, have them humanize it? If you're getting the drift here, stories are just about being human, being human, being human, making things authentic and human. Does it hurt the algorithm if people don't engage? No, I will say no, because I've had stories that like still have massive views and they have 3 DM replies. I've had hundreds of thousands of views and I've had hundreds of thousands of comments. I don't think it's directly related actually in stories. Granted, I'm going to tell you right now, the algorithm is a fickle gal. So I shouldn't say that I know what she does, but that's my personal experience. Okay, so when, how much, what are we doing here? Give us the data. How does this work? So you got to story multiple times throughout the day. Why this is, well, that's the mistake I see most people making. They sit down, they tell a 4-minute story, and they're like, whoop, got my stories out for the day. I'm like, 80% of people watch the first slide, and about 5% made it to the last. Raise your hand if that's what you're seeing. Yeah, we got to not do that. So we're going to show up multiple times throughout the day. We're going to show up in the morning, then we're going to show up at lunch, then we're going to show up at dinner, then we're going to show up at bedtime. Every time we're doing it, think of what it's doing for the algorithm. You're just getting another chance to jump to that top bubble that people see. But if you only do it in the morning, all these other people are going to go cover you up, cover you up, cover you up. You're going to get less and less and less. So multiple times throughout the day, it's just giving people options to see you. It's helping you out to story multiple times throughout the day. It does not have to be major, you guys. It can be a picture of what you're doing now with your feet and your feelings written over it. That's just given more opportunity for story views. You can commit to 2 minutes of your day, guys. You can do this. 2 minutes of your day, that's aggressive. That's that's saying that's actually probably a lot more than you guys are currently doing. For some of you, I would say you can do it. Not 2 minutes in succession. Yep, not going to try that one again. Not 2 minutes of your day at one chunk. You're going to do some here, you're going to do some later, you're going to do some later. 2 minutes of your day, you can give your community 2 minutes of your day. If your clients were in your living room, you'd give them so much more than 2 minutes. But when it comes to stories, we're like, no. They're still your people. Give your friends more than 2 minutes a day. Okay, know your analytics. What kind of stuff is working? What kind of stuff are they loving? If I talk about my religious journey, we're like, whoa! Everyone's like, let's talk about it. We got to see this. We got to know everything about it. That's how I know. Podcast coming soon, by the way. It's going to be epic and really vulnerable and scary, but it's coming. So what are your analytics? What works best for you? I know that when I post and sell things like this, if I post the workbook, people are like, oh, that workbook is sexy, and people buy. I know that from checking my analytics. What stories actually have link clicks? What stories? And it's easy to check in your analytics. You go to the right button of your Instagram. There's 3 little dicey things. You're going to right click it. You're going to go to Insights, and you're going to be able to see a complete download of like, oh, this is my playbook. I've already written my playbook. I just have to go reference it once in a while. We also know we're going to take those 24-hour breaks, give it a cleansing situation. I mean, I wouldn't take a 24-hour break every single time, but I think you can handle one in a week. What this is doing for people when you actually use your voice is it creates an audio habit. They're like, that's my girl. I know her. I know that voice. She's a thing in my life. I hear it. It creates this audio habit, this friendship connection. So if you feel comfortable, use your voice. We are human to human. We have voices. So if you feel comfortable, that is just going to help you. Okay, so let's see here. There's some great there's just great stuff happening in the chat. You guys are so there for each other. I love it. Okay, so guys, we have got to promise me that we are going to keep this thing short and sweet. Write this down, circle it, bullet point it, and then bullet point it some more. Highlight it. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. Literally, if you're telling a story, it's gone over a minute. If you are selling something and it's gone much over a minute, you're going to lose them. You've got to get to the point. You've got to tell the story quickly or in multiple interesting looking slides. Sitting down and hearing a story, it's hard for people to stay. Obviously, there's sometimes you can do that. What I see is most people doing this every day. I'm like, that's not good content. Short and sweet. Use it. If you've gone, we used to have this amazing tool on Instagram where it would cut us off. I think we still do. If it cuts you off at a minute, you've gone way too long. If you've cut you off at a minute, you've gone way too long. I always say, if it's cut me off in 30 seconds, I'm gone too long. Short and sweet. Be super respectful of your time. Think, how can I say this without rambling? How can I say this, get the point across really quickly here? That's respectful of people's time. That way they know that when they watch your stories, they can trust. Hey, this isn't going to drone on forever. I'm going to get dopamine hits left and right. Something juicy's coming. If she's telling this long of a story, something juicy's coming. Instead of like, she's always telling these super long stories. I don't even know. Okay? Next, great lighting. We want to always have, where possible, great lighting. We love looking at pretty things. We just do. I hate this so much for me and you, but it's apparently part of our human. If my makeup is done, am I in good lighting, my story views are way up. If I'm looking like hot mess mom rolled out of bed, people are like, I don't want to see that. I got enough of that shiz of my own. It's just something very interesting about the aesthetics of how we look and the persona that we are putting off. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you that's the data of actually what happens for me and many of my influencer friends. Jess says, what if my product is a face on my stories and not me? Should I rework that? 100%. It's hard for your product to be human. It's easy for you to be human. Okay, so guys, next we are filtering sparingly. We are filtering, maybe we're not the clicker. We are filtering sparingly. We're filtering sparingly. All the filters are doing, they are putting a mask between you and your audience. You're like, I don't feel comfortable being my full self, so I'm hoping if I add this layer, you'll think my skin's more perfect, that I'm more perfect, therefore I am perfect, you will love me and like me forever. Thank you. Really, guys, human to human, no layers. filter sparingly. There are some excellent filters that I love for lighting that I'm like, okay, this makes me still look like me. I still have pores, but I look more, it just looks aesthetically a little better. Those I'm like, you can get away with. The ones that are changing our face, and I'm like, why is my nose all of a sudden skinnier? Let's not, okay? Never, ever. Okay, and another great tip, because we are aesthetic humans and we really like things to look pretty, get yourself the nicest phone that you can afford. Because that camera, clean it off. You better get your dress and you better get that stuff off of it every single time, because that haze, we're going to lose it on the haze. I know it sucks, but it just is a thing. Proper put togetherness, we need to make sure that we look the part that we want to sell. Sometimes I'm dressed in a business person. Sometimes I'm a mom. I'm usually always pretty put together. Okay. Enjoy your cast of characters. Don't add people to your cast too often. You are not adding your best friend, her sister's dog, your family, friends. Stick to your cast of characters so you're not confusing for people. I'm talking about my dog a lot. Fitz is always like the current star. He's the baby. He's always home. So identify your cast of characters. Then we have our random value adds. Our random value adds are like, hey, have you guys tried these acai bowls at Costco? They're really good. Todd and I are reading this together, and it's so good. Interesting stuff that could add value to people's lives. You'd be like, how does that relate to my jewelry business? How does that relate to my jewelry business? It doesn't. It relates to you being a human, which is really fun and really great to connect with people. So share the things that you love. Then we're going to take them on journeys. Any journey that you are walking right now in your life, walk it with your people. Walk it with your people. If it's a home renovation, if it's buying a new business, if it's reworking your wardrobe, take them on the journey. They're going to love it. Even if you are a business, and I keep hearing this in the comments, how does this apply if I have no face? All applies. You're all humans. So what if your energy just kind of sucks that day? You're like, dude, I am not feeling it. PMS is taking over my whole life. I don't think I have it in me. Then we got some helpers, right? We got the music to help us out. That is just increasing people's vibes. We are sharing our positive reviews of like, this person had a good feeling. I don't necessarily have that high vibes today, but this person does, and I'm going to share her. I love me some memes. They're such shareable content. Some of my highest, most engaged analytics are actually memes. So share what people, it adds value. It gives dopamine hits. It gives people a laugh. It gives them something to think about. Don't hesitate to share a good meme in your life. That applies to your people, right? Okay, pictures with emotion behind it, maybe from a time you did feel good. Maybe from a time you were on vacation, and then you write about something about your business. Something that can just help that vibration come through a little bit more aligned. Then we are changing your state. This is a good one. Just clap, jump around, call your friend, do a dance move, do what you got, shake it out. That is going to increase the frequency. It's going to increase your vibration. Just change your state before stories. Before you do stories, jump up and down a couple times. Just give it a jump, give it a shake, and then go. And your vibe is going to be higher. I promise. It's crazy stuff, but it actually works. This is not psychology. It's literally science. Eat good food. Todd's going to love this one. Eat good food, do some meditation, have some sex. Always just going to increase the vibration before you go to those stories. What can you do? Okay, now let's get into the story selling part. Are you guys ready? How do we actually convert these people from liking us to buying what we have to offer? Because it is both. Will you guys grab me a water? Awesome. Thank you. And also, can you turn on the AC? These lights are really freaking hot. Okay, so we are selling. How are we selling? There's 4 types of selling that we need to be doing. Thank you. We are selling connection. These are 4 types of stories when you're selling things. Connection stories, which we just covered. Resistance stories. Industry stories. And then there are success stories. So we're going to use a conglomeration of all of these things. So, resistance.
You can absolutely learn everything I'm teaching on your own. But if you're like, hey, I just like to take the shortcuts, I've always been a shortcut gal. And $267 is a hell of a price for an epic shortcut.
The resistance was, why would I buy this? I could probably just figure this out on my own. So I speak directly to the resistance. Hey, you can totally figure this out on your own. It's just a shortcut. If you want to take the shortcut, if you want to pay money to get there quicker, I got you. What are the common resistances that people are having in your business? Guess what? Spoiler alert, they're the same that every single person is having. Every single business owner is facing these same ones. We are talking about cost as the problem. It's going to take too much time. The service is not going to work for me or them. It's not a priority in their life right now. I'll take action when I get to it. That's like for a later date type of thing. These are the workarounds you got to speak to. You got to speak to them often. You got to speak to them in your feed. You got to speak to them in your stories. You got to speak to them authentically. What are your real answers to these objections, and how can you work them into your sales flow? Because people have them. I learned this most when I was an influencer. So, like 3 times a week, I'd go live. I made stupid amounts of money in 15 seconds selling things like Vanity Planet face scrubbers. I was like, my job as an influencer. It's like, okay, here's my game as an influencer. I have to get as many people to click on this link as humanly possible, and I win. While being obviously ethical, moral. So I'm like, how do I get people? I'm going to go in first. So I'd be like, I got to sell this scrubber brush. Why would I buy this? Why would I buy this? Why would I buy this? Okay, you know what? I hate when water drips down my arms. It's like so gross. They have to splash water everywhere and then my hair gets ruined. That's why I'm going to buy this. That's my sales pitch. So instead of going in of, this is the Vanity Planet sales brush, I would say, dude, don't you hate it when you're washing your face and you just wash your hair and there's like, you get water because you're splashing on yourself? That's the worst. And water's dripping down your elbows. That's why I'm so obsessed with this Vanity Planet, because it keeps all the water right here, cleans my face, double wear, double blah, blah, blah. I'm going to speak to the features, then I'm going to close it out. Link is in bio, click call to action. Can be quick. It does not have to be super long, but think through, why aren't people buying this, and speak to it often. The next is your industry knowledge. Summer just covered this in beautiful detail. Industry knowledge is service. Free service is going to be the key. If they can trust you with give away your best stuff for free. Give away the stuff that it feels so valuable to people that are like, she's giving this away for free. I can't imagine what it's like in her paid program. I did before I sold my Suzy School course that did a $1.6 million launch. What I did was I did this free Instagram challenge. Got lots of people to engage every single day, and that was free. So when it came time to be like, and would you like to go a little deeper? People were like, yes, immediately. Give free service in your industry related. You can do it in stories, obviously, as well. So, trust. We got to talk about trust, baby. It's a source of persuasion. Trust. If they do not like you, if they don't trust you, you're not getting a sell. Authenticity is the source of trust. When our vibe, our energy matches our words, and our words match our actions, that's the cycle we've always got to get. Because if your energy, you go to sell something, your energy's off, they feel it, it decreases trust every time. Authenticity is where to get that trust. So you got to have 100% belief in your product. If you are not there with 100% of belief in your product, your sales are not going to be there. You're not going to build a business that you're super psyched about, and other people will not either. They have got to trust and believe. You have got to trust and believe your product. And keep reworking your product little by little until you're like, this is the best I can do for now. This is the best I can do right now. That's 100% belief. 100% commitment to your audience. You're not selling them out. Guys, I'm taking your money here. I'm taking your time here because I know this is super valuable for you. I didn't have, at the middle of this presentation, some random guy come in and sell you mop cleaners. I was like, I am committed to this audience. I'm going to try to serve them in the best way we can. Even if it is an upsell, I know that that's a commitment to my audience that I know is going to serve them. The combination of the 100% belief in your product, 100% belief and commitment to your audience is a powerful, powerful persuasion tool. So, we got to do this, right? We got to go influencer vibes, influencer Suzy. How do we sell that Vanity Planet brush? How do we sell those sprouted walnuts? How do we sell this school? How do we sell it? You got 118 seconds. This is the elevator pitch rule. And this 118 seconds says that you have 8 seconds to hook them. You got 8 seconds to hook them in. You got 8 seconds to give them interested, tell them something. And you got 110 to sell, period, end of story. Anything you're selling. I don't care if you're selling a home. I don't care if you're selling a $50,000 coaching package. I don't care if you're selling a Jovi patch. You got to do it in 110 seconds. Your first one. Woo! Think you can do it? Let's see what I did here for Jovi is a company that I co-founded, the one that I gave that following of 200,000 to this company. And so let's see how we did it here.
I still am a part of Jovi. I just don't do the day-to-day anymore. That is my best friend, Kim, who has worked her butt off on this product. The results are prelim clinical trials. They're on the website. 96% reduction in pain medication use with the use of the patch. 92% reduction of opioid use with the patch. Can you even, if you have back pain, get that one? If you have any pain, get that one now, immediately. Must run.
A little scarcity. I went with the hardest hitting punch we got. I wasn't like, oh, I developed this company and the patch is purple and this is how the neurotransmitters work. I went with the hardest heavy hitting punch that we have. Those clinical trials, 96% reduction in narcotic pain use. I led with the most painful pain point, literally on that one. What's your most painful pain point? That's the one you're leading with. When you're hosting stories and you're selling something, we're not going to beat around the bush, get to like, oh, and the feature is this workbook, and do you ever feel like this? We're gonna come out with the hardest punch we have. Do you feel so, and this is like, Summers is so great. She's like, do you feel so discouraged about this? Are you just walking around muddy and confused? People are like, I gutturally feel that. That is the pain point that she hits most. So when you're selling, step one, you got 118 seconds, 8 seconds to lead them in. You're telling a little bit of a story here. Then you got 110 to nail the hardest hit you possibly can land with your product or service. And then you're going to wrap it up and give them a call to action. Buy now. 118 seconds. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Bob the Builder, Bob the Builder. Did anyone? No one has? Yep. Okay, scarcity if it's possible. Oh, scarcity if it's possible. Literally, so then the next stories. So that's come out of the gates. You're coming out on Monday. You took Sunday off, so you're going to get your story views high. You're coming out with the 118 second punch. Then in the follow-up slides, we're going to drive scarcity if possible. I drove it a little bit at that Joby side. I said, buy now. Get it right now. The scarcity said, well, the first 50 seats are already taken. Get with the link. Maybe it is the price. My next workshop we did, the price raises every single week until the event. That was another way. We get a couple different squeezes in there. How can you authentically, don't ever make up scarcity if it's not real and you're not selling 50 seats, don't say that. But how can you get that? Because psychology-wise, in our guts, we're all tribal creatures, and what we're thinking is, I don't want to be left behind. I do not want to be left behind. So use that, make people feel, I got to make this decision now. The most common thing I see, and I'm so stoked that you're here, because this is not going to be you. People feel too uncomfortable to sell, so they bury it in the middle of their day, in the middle of their stories. I see you raising your hands, those guilty, like, that's totally me. You're like, I'm going to lead with something that's cute and friendly, and then hopefully they like me enough, and then in the middle, I'm going to say something, and I'm going to probably be like, and it's okay if you totally don't do this, but also, now let's get back to my kids really quick. Who does that? We're no longer going to do that. We're going to stop burying the sell. Guilty, 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 guilty. Listen, we're just going in the days when we got to sell. We're not selling every day. That would be lame. That makes us the car dealerships Summer talks about. We're selling when we're in a launch season. Not every season is a time for a big launch. But when we have those launches, when we have these things that we need people to buy, stop burying it. Just boldly, confidently lead with it. So, how do we work this system? We warm them through the connection for weeks, for months, building up. We're showing the stories. We're showing behind the scenes. We're touring that corporate property. We are building the jewelry with our hands. We are showing that we are getting a new certification, whatever. We're warming them up. We're building them connection. We're sharing our emotions along the way.
This after watching so many.
And then we're going to talk about another portion in your sales pitch is this inciting incident. This is another set of stories you can make after the 118. This is your inciting incident. Why you created this in the first place. Let's watch.
This after watching so many friends and honestly students struggle through their launches with the energetic took to their launches of like, is it okay if I sell you this? Like, is that? And not only the energetics being super off, but the strategy just not being something that sets
So
you
this
up.
inciting incident, why did you create this thing in the first place? Why you want people to know that is because it once again creates that more of an emotional connection to you. So why did you create it? Why is this important to you? Why is this important to them? What is the incident that inspired the product or service that you were offering? There's another set of stories that you can offer. The next is the offer is dropping. The offer is dropping. Okay, so this is the rising of the story arc.
Are you a business owner or do you want to be a business owner? And when it comes to launches, you're kind of like, am I doing this right? Why am I not selling out? Why are people not stoked out of their minds? What I've created is awesome. I'm so excited to do the first.
So I did this before. I'm like, I'm excited. This is coming. This offer's dropping. Is this for you? Start feeling it out. Is this feeling good for you? Are you this person? And then we got our climax. We got this 118 hard sell. We're doing problem, solution, reward, qualifications. These are all buffets of ideas for you to include in your sales strategy. What makes sense for the stories you've been telling. It can't be one size fits all. It can't be story slide 1 and then story slide 2 and then story slide 3 because we all have different cadences. We all have different amount of times. We have different feeds. Are we working this into the feed? If we're doing it in stories, these are all elements that you want to pack into your launches and into your selling. So the next thing that we're going to share is social proof. Why do we need to share social proof? Because we are creatures who want to know what everyone else is doing. We feel safe when we're like, oh, yeah. Okay, other people are making that decision too. I'm not the only one here. And often people are like, oh my gosh, I just feel so conceited when I'm sharing social proof. What you're actually doing is sharing with the community, your people, like, this is a safe decision. Do you see? You are not alone. Your tribal creatureness is like, yes, please. I love that I am not alone here. So share that social proof. Another way to amazing social proof, this is give you credibility. See, I'm really good at this. This says, focused on creating an Instagram community, this founder surpassed 1 million in sales in 4 hours. That's me. So when I go to sell you a course on launching, you're like, I see that she could be a trusted source on this topic. When we don't toot our own horns as little us's are like, I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm not going to toot my own horn. What we're really doing is robbing our clients of the ability to trust and us the ability to serve them because we're not instilling the trust that they actually need to make this. And then resolution, right? We did it. The sale's going well. The resolution, Susie School is over. Where does the story arc end for people? It ends, they launched one amazing. Here's what people said about the product. Here are my reviews. So we don't want to just let people guess. How'd that launch go for her? Because we're leaving them in the middle of a story arc. Do we like to do that? Do our nervous systems like that? No, they want to know how it went, and they want it to have the come down moment of the resolution. I'm going to show you this amazing, incredible feature, and I'm sure everyone is seeing it all over the place, this ManyChat. ManyChat is an incredibly valuable resource that I'm so grateful they came up with because it allows you to follow up with your leads, collect their email addresses, all straight from your DM. So I said, DM the word boost. I did a cute reel. I said, DM the word boost, in which either the sales page went directly to your site. On one of the DMs, we did sales page directly to their site for people to sign up. Another one we did was we said, DM the word workbook. And then when they wanted to get the workbook, I said, hey, awesome, I need to collect your email. Is it okay if I send you this email and some other goodies to get the workbook? Give me your email. And then the email goes in, and then awesome, guess what? I get to follow up with those people again and again and again, segmenting out, meaning I don't have to talk to my entire community every time. You're like, I'm selling this again. The first people I should talk to are the people that were first interested in the first place. ManyChat is an incredible, incredible tool, and is something that I have a friend who made $300,000 extra just implementing ManyChat in an integrated way into her business. Following up on leads, not getting shy, and it's a bot. It does all of it for you, which is just amazing because we're into that. We're into making it as easy as we can. So we already talked about tracking your analytics, tracking your link clicks specifically. Not just what are people watching. We covered that in the connection piece. What are people buying? What are the call-ins that are working like butter? Like I said, when I posted the workbook, I'm like, this has a 46-page workbook. People were like, what, a workbook? I don't know what it is about your bodies and like wanting a workbook, like a plan. So what is your version of a workbook that's like, this is money. I see that this gets link clicks every time. It's just going to be a constant try, evaluate, try it again. Try, evaluate, try it again. Try, evaluate, try it again. Don't just assume you know what works. Every post-launch, every post-sale should have a breakdown, a post-mortem. What went well? What did not? Where can I improve? How many ManyChat interactions did just sending the link get versus how many when I sent them a workbook? Tracking, then you can kind of create your own system The goal is that you create your own system using all of these principles. You're like, yes, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to rinse and repeat for this product. I'm going to rinse and repeat for this retreat, for this building. Checking your analytics. Okay, and in closing, we're going to get through this last little bit, is that you guys, you know that energetics matter. Energetics matter more than any of it. You're going to take that note, right? You're going to take that note. When you're selling in energetics, here's what people do. They either start talking like super fast, and then they get super animated, and then they maybe start saying like a bunch and touching their hair. Okay, that's a sure sign like, oh, that energy is not actually connected to something I want to buy. It's got to feel like your energy. Make sure that you're talking your normal speed, your normal inflection rate. You're saying stuff that you usually say. If you don't say splendid, don't all of a sudden go to sell and start saying the word splendid. If possible, don't re-record. You're going to be the most authentic on your first one. Summer and I ran an ad where we're like in the middle of it. We're both like, cool. We just stopped in the middle of the ad and just laughed because that was authentic. That's us. People can feel it. We're relying on the energetic to take that where our words can't. Make sure you use good lighting, especially when you're going to sell. Make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing. You're looking put together like the person you want, they think that they want to be inspired by. And then just check your inflections. Make sure not like, hey, everybody, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to tell you about this product I have launching. This is so awesome. Whoa, like why did voice go like that all of a sudden? We know people's voices, and that got a little weird. Or they'll do the opposite, when all of a sudden they're going to get very serious, and they're going to start talking very slowly and deliberately. You're going to do one of two things. You're going to either speed up or you're going to slow down. So what you got to do is make sure that you just take some deep breaths. Take some deep breaths. Then you're going to go to sell and doing the best you possibly can to sound like yourself. Sound like you're talking to your friend on the other side, exactly how you would talk about your products and service if you were sitting in Starbucks. Do that when you're talking in your stories. Guys, here's the cold hard truth. Your story views are going to drop. You're going to go to sell something, and I can promise you with 100% certainty, 100% certainty, you're going to go to sell and your story views are going to drop. Why does that happen? Because people are like, ooh, she's selling me something. I'm not here for this. This isn't something I need in my life right now. People aren't engaging as much because it's not something cute about your life or about connection, so the engagement goes down. That does not mean that you are not being successful. That just means this is how the game works. This is 1,000,000% how the game works. And just plan on this happening and knowing that's okay. This is how it works. This is one of the things of having this amazing free tool that I'm given, utilizing it in this way. I'm just okay with the story views dropping, knowing that even with the dropped story views, the people that you're retaining, the people that are actually staying, those are the people who are going to buy from you. So don't ditch out on them because the other 60 didn't want it. Ditch out on those 10 that you're like, stay true to those 10 that you're like, you are the people I can help. You are the people that are still here. And just expect for it to happen. What's going to happen next? Your ego is going to fire all the way up. Your ego's like, I hate this. People don't like me. I'm not cool. Why did I sell this? Why did I think I can do this in the first place? This is so cool about Instagram. It's all a spiritual pursuit. Every single opportunity when you go to flip up your camera, it's like, are you going to choose yourself and authenticity, or are you going to choose to try to control what other people think of you? You get the choice multiple times a day. And guess what? The more you choose you, the easier it is to choose you. And the more you choose you, I promise you the more people will come. I promise you the more people will watch. Okay, the next. We know this, I just want to cover it again. 100% belief in your product, 100% belief in your community, never selling them out. That is powerful persuasion. And you know, all of you who have been in my course, Creator Babes, know this. You are not getting out of here without me talking about the vibrational scale, the emotional scale. All of our thoughts, feelings hold vibrations. At the very bottom down here, we have shame, we have fear, we have guilt, we have resentfulness, we have discouragement. Every single one of those emotions holds a frequency that is attaching to your Instagram stories. I promise you this. But up here at the top, we have joy, we have gratitude, we have passion, we have service, we have positive belief, we have hopefulness, we have contentment. This is the place you got to get yourself for when you're selling. You got to stay up here in hope, in positive belief, in expectation. Okay, if this doesn't go okay, that's okay. The next thing is maybe going to go better. Instead of, please let this work, please let this work. My family's not going to be able to eat if I don't actually make this work. What is going to be attached to that frequency? Even if you're saying the right words, you're doing all the tips, you're showing all the right testimonials, energy does not lie. So, we got to have the energetics. That's the key. That's the ticket. And being human beings. We're humans. We just want to connect. It's the greatest fundamental need that we actually all have. It's actually not our product or service. It's how we want to feel something. We want to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. We want to feel like we can see ourselves in other. We want to feel like we're getting better. We want to feel connected. That is the beautiful thing about storytelling and story selling. You are more connected. So drop a 1 in the chat if you are going to go apply all of these things, and I'm going to watch your stories, and you're going to be telling cool stories, and I'm going to can't wait to come along on all of your journeys. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yes, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Perfect, perfect. This has the ability to change the trajectory of your entire business. I promise you that. Please make yourself a promise right now. I want you to make yourself this promise. I will not back down when this gets hard. I will push through to find and be my authentic self. I want you to say this out loud. I will push through to find and be my authentic self. I will call in the clients of my dreams. I will call in the clients of my dreams just by being myself. Are you guys ready? Summer, come and say, give us an adieu. I am so proud of you guys for showing up here. I cannot wait to see how this transforms your life, your business. It's been absolutely a pleasure. Oh, look at our hands, baby. Thank you guys. Go apply. Yes, you're so welcome. We had so much fun. What you can't see is us standing on a stool right now. We've had to stand on a stool the whole time to make us tall enough. Thank you for coming. Bye! Woo!